we get into our meeting, I'd like to ask that if you have a cell phone that you put it on vibrate or turn it off. And with that, Ms. Banks, I ask you to call the roll.
Thank you. Mr. Moss?
Here.
Mr. Frazier?
Here.
Ms. Jordan? Here. Mr. Fracassi is excused this evening. Mr. Lance is excused this evening. Ms. Seymour is excused this evening. Mr. Stryker?
I'm here.
You have 4 members present.
And with that, I ask everyone to rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. We're going to start our meeting this evening with a presentation from County Treasurer Andy Meisner, and to introduce the Treasurer is our Treasurer, Mr. Herb Lowenberg.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. And I'm honored that we have Andy Meisner, our County Treasurer for Oakland County, here with us this evening. And he's going to tell us about a very important program for our residents. With these challenging economic times, we're facing all our families are trying to make ends meet and trying to get all our bills paid. And with the federal government's aid, we are able to offer a program that Mr. Meisner will tell us about. It's called the Step Forward Michigan program. And he was one of the champions for it in terms of repositioning money that came from the federal government. And altogether, we have about 95% of our taxpayers pay their taxes on time. But for that 5% out there, this is a program that will be able to help them. So,
thank you very much. Good evening, Mr. Meisner.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor, distinguished members of the council. Appreciate this opportunity to be with you, and appreciate my good friend Herb Lowenberg's kind introduction. I know that you guys have a lot of business before you this evening, and so I'm going to keep my comments brief. But I did want to take this opportunity to ask for your help in reaching out to the citizens of Southfield to make them known, to make them aware, I should say, of a very important program that is available now to people who have fallen behind on their taxes. As everybody knows, these have been lean years, and there are a lot of people who, through no fault of their own, have fallen on bad times. They have experienced a hardship that has prevented them from paying their delinquent taxes or their mortgage. Now, with a relatively new program called the Step Forward Michigan Loan Rescue Program, people that are experiencing delinquent taxes can get up to $30,000. Again, $30,000 to pay off delinquent taxes, interest, fees, homeowner association dues, as I was speaking with the gentleman from a homeowners association. And so this is kind of a very rare opportunity. Now, the program is called Step Forward Michigan Loan Rescue Program, and I've got some materials that I brought to share with the council and would ask for their assistance in sharing it with the citizens of the city. There are 4 basic criteria for eligibility. Number 1, you have to be the title owner of your home. In other words, you need to own your home, and it's got to be your name on the deed. So, for instance, if you inherited a property from a deceased relative but never went through probate to get your name added, you would need to do that in order to qualify. Second, you have to have delinquent taxes, interest, or fees of $30,000 or less. Third, you have to have experienced a hardship. They call it an involuntary hardship, and that could include unemployment, you lost your job, underemployment, where they cut 2 shifts at work, and so you are not earning at your full potential. 3, you've suffered a medical disability or a health problem that is preventing you from gainful employment, or a divorce. But the idea is that you've suffered a temporary hardship, and that the payment of these taxes is going to allow you to recover and to maintain home ownership for at least 5 years. This $30,000 is given as what's called a forgivable loan. So for each year that you stay in your home after receiving these monies, 20% of that amount is forgiven. So, if you got $10,000 and stayed in your home for 1 year after getting it, you would have 20% of that you would no longer owe. Now, the 4th requirement of the program is that you cannot have a ton of cash on hand. That should be a problem. We have a lot of friends and neighbors who are in that situation. And so, if your property tax bill is $3,000, you can't have more than 1.5 times that, or $4,500 in cash on hand in your checking or savings account. So, if you fit these criteria, it is essential that you connect with my office immediately. I'm asking for 2 things. Number 1, if you have delinquent taxes, contact my office immediately so that we can work out a payment plan to buy you more time. We'll offer even a $25 monthly payment plan as long as somebody is willing to take responsibility for the delinquent amount and show good faith. That's number 1. Number 2, I'm asking that you connect with a certified housing counselor listed on the back of this letter who can assist you with the application process. The last item is that the application process is very confusing. And to be honest with you, it's a very poorly done application. It's very bureaucratic. It's very difficult to follow. I have a law degree and I can barely follow this. And so what I did was I made a screenshot of all 23 pages, and I'm sorry, it is 23 pages for the application. I did a screenshot, and then I added little text bubbles in red that helped the person filling out the form by giving them, the answer that the state entity is looking for. Both this letter describing the program and the eligibility requirements, this list of certified housing counselors, and then this document, which I call the cheat sheet, these are all available on my website at www.oakgov.com/treasurer. And I've got some paper copies, Mr. President, if I may leave with you, or with the clerk, I'm sorry, and that can also be transmitted to you electronically so that you can share them with people. Now, why is it so urgent? Under the property tax law in Michigan, on March 31st, how many days is that? That's less than 2 weeks, right? If people have not entered into a payment plan with my office for their delinquent taxes, on March 31st, they will lose their property. So I am hoping that this call to action reaches out not only to the people in this chamber today, but to the people in their lives, at their church or temple, in their neighborhood, in their family, so that we reach out to everybody that could be eligible to get the payment plan worked out with my office, and then secondly, to get an application in for the Step Forward Michigan Loan Rescue Program, because this is going to do a few things. 1, it's going to save people's homes. 2, it's going to help stabilize our neighborhoods, which have been hurt by foreclosure. And 3, it's going to help protect our tax base. And I know that you guys have been dealing with the drops in property values as we have around the county, and this is something that we can do to help fight back. So very much appreciate the council's indulgence. Would be happy to answer questions Please, Ms. Dorr.
First of all, thank you, Mr. Knighton, for bringing this to our attention. And it is our hope that many residents, hopefully they're listening tonight and can really take advantage of what's being offered. And I myself work with a nonprofit, and I'm going to make sure that this information is communicated to them. One question is, this is a statewide initiative, it's not just restrictive to Oakland County residents.
Yeah, that's a great question, Madam Councilwoman. The program is through the state of Michigan, through the Michigan State Housing Development Authority, and it's being made available in any county where the county treasurer signs up for the program. Most of the county treasurers in Michigan, by this point, have signed up. We were first in line. But as long as the county treasurer in the county where the person lives has signed up with the State Department of Housing and Development, then that person would be eligible. Certainly Oakland, Macomb, Wayne, Washtenaw, and I believe Livingston have all signed up.
So the individual has to contact the county treasurer's office first.
Yes.
And that's for Oakland County, but basically for any of the counties.
Yes.
It's the same process.
Exactly.
And then you have to secure the application, or you set up the payment plan.
Right, so the first thing that we'll do is to set up a payment plan with the taxpayer. That will guarantee that they have at least one more year to pay off their delinquency and will buy them time to apply for the second step, which is applying through the Step 4 Michigan Loan Rescue Program. But unless they get with us and get the payment plan, their interests are going to be terminated on March 31st, and we do not want that to happen. So it's kind of a 1-2 punch. It's come meet with the county treasurer, doesn't bite, friendly. We just want to work out a payment plan, and then work with the resources that we connect you with to get the application properly submitted, to navigate. We'll hold your hand and help you through this process. And even a certified housing counselor from one of our great agencies would be available to help them, so that just they get their I's dotted and the T's crossed, as it were.
Okay. And I'm wondering, Mr. Chair, and Mr. Lowenberg, is there any way that we have a list of the current Southfield homeowners that are delinquent in their taxes, that in some way we can communicate to them? I know we're dealing with the short time frame, but, just kind of letting them know that this program is available and getting them signed up.
We're going to work together with the county treasurer's office. We at the close of tax year for us is February 28th. On March 1st, we turn over all our files to the Oakland County treasurer's office, and then we'll make sure that notification is given to all of them.
So we'll make sure that notifications are given out to our homeowners here that are delinquent to give them possibility of signing up for the program.
Yeah, and that's a good point, Councilwoman, because not only are the delinquent taxes eligible, but those taxes that were just turned over, they're now with the county, but those 2012 taxes are eligible for this program as well, up to $30,000.
Okay. Thank you again so much for bringing this.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for the question.
Anyone else?
Yeah.
No, Mr. Moss?
Yeah, I appreciate you coming to our meeting and getting this information out to the public. We're focused on neighborhood stabilization too, and so that's a huge focus for our council. My question is, so you said by March 31st they need to get in touch with you in your office. What's the best way for a resident watching this meeting tonight or on repeat until March 31st to get a hold of you?
Sure. So contact us at the county at 248-858-0612. They can get our information at our website, which is www.oakgov.com/treasurer, or they can email me directly at Meisner, MEISNERA, @oakgov.com. That's OAKGOV.com. And I tell you, I'm so excited to get people connected with this. They should call me on my cell phone, which is still 248-421-ANDY or 248-421-2639. And I might drive to their house and meet them right on their front porch and get it done there, because it really is that urgent. And these sorts of opportunities just do not come along very frequently, but that would be the best way to contact me, and appreciate your help in, getting the word out.
When you give your number to a Southfield meeting, just be prepared for text messages, as we've all experienced, but that's not bad thing necessarily.
We'll take those.
Also, we have flyers at the treasurer's counter in Southfield Treasurer's Office, as well, to be able to direct people to the county.
Mr. Frazier.
Yes.
Okay. I presume this is a one-time deal?
So the funding is available through 2017. So for the 2011 tax year, there will be funding that will be available. But if you have delinquent taxes from 2010 or prior, under the state tax law in Michigan, where if you don't work out a payment plan, you lose your property in the third year, those people will lose their property and will lose the ability to apply for this program. So the March 31st deadline, Councilman, applies to the 2010 tax year and before.
Okay, but my question is, once they take advantage of this,
Yes.
it's a one-time...
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. Maybe I wasn't clear enough.
No, it is a one-time deal.
Okay.
And, the Step Forward program has actually got a few different elements, and you get one bite at the apple.
Okay.
If you have a mortgage deficiency and a delinquent tax problem, you can get a combined $30,000 that could go to either. So this could assist with your mortgage as well, but it's a one-time opportunity.
Okay, and this may be too technical for this meeting. It's something probably have to be worked on an individual basis, but you said that a person can't have much money in their bank account or checking account.
Yeah.
But supposing it's in an IRA and they're not old enough to take out any of the IRA without penalty.
I think they're good. I think that they would be okay.
Okay.
I don't think that they would define that as a liquid asset.
Okay.
And I think that's the term that they use. So it'd be more like checking, savings, maybe CDs, kind of an overnight money market. But I don't think that an IRA is used in calculating that.
Okay. If by being here tonight you generate enough excitement with the people that you get inundated with calls, do you have enough people to
Yes.
handle, to get on a payment plan between now and then?
Absolutely.
Okay.
We have enough people. We will accommodate people. If people can't get to the county, we'll get to them. But by any means necessary, we are going to connect with people of need. We will get them worked up with a quick payment plan that will get them on a sustainable path. And then we'll also, the payment plan is a sure thing. That's the way that they can put their destiny in their own hands. So we want to lock that down. And then, God willing, they apply for this and they get it, and then they don't have to worry about the payment plan, because where the state, where the MSHDA approves a application, it then goes to our office to either approve or disapprove. I'll tell you right now, we're approving everybody. I can't see why we wouldn't. Then MSHDA sends us the money. We apply the money to the tax bill, to the delinquencies, and then if it's current year, I would transfer them, to Mr. Vollenberg, and then it would stop the tax foreclosure process in its tracks.
Okay, and once they get this money, if they fall into the bad habit of not paying their future taxes.
Yeah. Good question. If they don't pay. Yeah, so it's a forgivable loan, provided that you do what you have to do.
Okay.
So there's no monthly payment, there's no interest rate. All they have to do is to stay in the home. So if, for instance, if they get $15,000 from this, and then, they're out of their house after the third year, they're still going to owe, they're going to have to pay back 40% of that $15,000, and it will be a lien on their property. And so the goal of the program is to promote long-term home ownership. So if somebody was applying for the program, Councilman, and had zero income, they probably wouldn't be successful in applying. But if that person had some income, maybe some pension income, or they had just gotten back to work, or maybe just a shift was added on the line, whatever it is, they're going to be looking for some sustainability in who they grant, the applications for.
Okay, and my last question is there any kind of budgeting training or anything that will go along with this so that the people that don't have good budgeting skills won't get back into that same kind of thing?
Yeah, so when we connect people with one of the certified housing counseling agencies that we're working with, they're going to do a full workup.
Okay.
And so they'll be able to triage the situation and see what's going on and see if the family might benefit from some help in getting a family budget together, if there is a referral to Michigan Works that might be appropriate, they'll do that. If there is a mental health issue, they might make a referral to the county mental health authority. But yeah, the idea is that once they're referred to a certified housing counseling agency, that we can kind of identify and address any barriers that might exist.
Okay. I'd also like to join my colleagues in saying that thank you for being here and sharing this program with our community. And it sounds like something that will help us in our efforts to keep neighborhoods sound and people in their homes. So, again, thanks.
Well, thank you. Thank you for your partnership, and I really appreciate your help getting that word, and appreciate your indulgence with this, just a bit of time on I have a busy agenda.
Two quick questions for you.
Please.
Is there a charge for the counseling?
No. That's a great question. Not only is there not a charge for the counseling, but if anyone is ever presented with a housing counseling option that wants to charge them, that should be a huge red flag that there's something going on, and that they might become victimized by a predatory entity. So the housing counseling should never cost a penny.
And you said that the funding is coming from MISTA. Is it through MISTA itself, or is it a federal program?
That's another great question. Believe it or not, this is TARP money.
Okay.
This is Troubled Asset Relief Program dollars. And the truth is that the money, $498 million was allocated to the state of Michigan in 2010 for mortgage foreclosure relief. For a number of reasons, they didn't do a great job of getting that money out into the community. And so there was still like $400 million left. Now, to their credit, they petitioned the United States Treasury to say, hey, can we use this on delinquent taxes as well? They were successful in doing that. And so hopefully, through our collaborative efforts, we'll get a better outcome. But yeah, these are TARP dollars from 2010.
Well, thank you very much for being here. And Mr. Meisner, you are certainly the most approachable county treasurer I think we've ever had.
Thank you. I appreciate that, and appreciate the opportunity to serve. And 421 Andy's the cell phone. Feel free to make use of it.
Thank you for coming today.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, next we're going to move on our agenda to approval of minutes. We have the minutes from the regular meeting of January 28th, as well as the committee of the whole meeting from February 11th.
Mr. President?
Yes.
I move that we approve the minutes of the regular meeting of January 28, 2013, the committee of the whole meeting of February 11, 2013.
Support.
It's been moved by Mr. Frazier, supported by Mr. Moss. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Next we go on to our consent agenda, and tonight we have 10 items on this agenda, and I'll very quickly give you the background on it. CAA is authorization for the Parks and Recreation staff to apply for a $110,000 grant from the Michigan Department of Natural Resources to the Federal Land and Water Conservation Fund for the Pebble Creek Park play area renovation. The play implements have become outdated, and they are not up to our current standards on handicapped accessibility. Because this particular grant is rather lengthy, the $100,000 city match would be provided from the Parks and Rec budget for 2014-15. Item B is the authorization for another grant by the Parks and Recreation staff to apply this time for $300,000 from the Michigan Department of Natural Resources to the State Natural Resources Trust Fund for a portion of Inland Park improvements, as we approved on December 10th last year. The $300,000 local match would be provided from the existing budget for this project. C is the adoption of bylaws amendments, bylaw amendments for the Alliance of Bruce Communities, which Southfield is a member of. And this was reviewed at our Committee of the Whole meeting on March 4th. And item D is approval of the low bid in the amount of $52,332 for printing and copier paper from Contract Paper Group of Uniontown, Ohio. This bid covers a one-year period starting tomorrow if it's approved this evening. Funds are provided for this purpose in the 2012-13 Central Services budget, and this is a low bid amount, so we're actually on par at no increase from last year. E is approval of a request for the Police Department to join the Oakland County Tactical Training Consortium. This matter was reviewed at the Committee of the Whole on March 4th. This cooperative alliance is focused on safety of the general public and our police officers. It will provide specialized training and equipment available through grant funding to improve coordination between various police departments in the event of major incidents. There is no membership fee in this cooperative program. F is approval of a project for the efficiency, service, and security upgrades to the Southfield Police Department building, not to exceed an amount of $223,496. This project is to be placed under the superintendent control of the Southfield Building Authority. Funding is provided from the Insurance Risk Retention Fund, and this matter was reviewed also at the Committee of the Whole meeting on March 4th. Item G is a 3-year contract with Abatement Group of Ann Arbor, Michigan for medical billing services in connection with the fire department's ambulance transport of medical patients. This contract includes new software and related equipment and a reduction in fees that will result in an estimated cost savings of $60,000 over a 3-year period. The Abatement Group has provided these services at a high level in the past. The fee savings and equipment upgrades are a result of competitive bidding process through the Michigan Intergovernmental Trade Network. Item H is approval of low bid of a Synergy wireless product for Troy, Michigan, in the amount of $34,530.27 for vehicle modification services to equip vehicles for police canine units. This includes installation of light bars, cameras, computers, radios, weapons racks, and canine cages. Funds are provided in the 2012-13 motor approval budget for this purpose. Item I is approval of low bids in the amount of $602,000. $204 from 3 Michigan auto dealerships for a total of 26 replacement vehicles. 2 pickup trucks to replace the fully depreciated Chevy Luminas, and for code enforcement, 2 vans and 2 trucks for public works, the water department in particular, 15 police vehicles and 5 fire prevention vehicles. Funding for this is in the current motor pool budget. Item J is the designation of the Deputy City Administrator, Fred Ziller, and Street Administrator for purposes of handling transactions on behalf of the City of Southfield with the Michigan Department of Transportation. This is a statutory requirement that we have a street administrator. Are there any items that you wish, any member wish to hold?
Mr. President, I make a motion that we approve consent agenda item A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J for approval.
Support. It's been moved by Ms. Jordan and supported by Mr. Block. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Next, we're going to move on to our public hearing. Our first one is an economic development initiative, and I'm going to call on, I believe, Mr. Freeman. Okay. You need a minute. We went a little faster than we thought. While we're waiting, council reviewed this proposal at its meeting of February 11th. Good evening.
Good evening, Council President, Honorable Board. As you just mentioned, this item has been discussed at the February 11th, 2013 Committee of the Whole meeting. The property owner, TelNet Worldwide, has purchased the property located at 21005 Gloucester Road. It's a 40,148 square foot facility. TelNet is proposing to develop a facility at this location, a Tier 3 carrier-neutral wholesale data center, and I will ask Mark Anuzzi from TelNet to come forward and give a presentation on this project. This facility will be filling this vacant property that has been vacant for a number of years. It will require them to do a complete build-out of the facility, and we're very excited to have them here with us. So I'd like to turn the presentation over to Mark. He's going to go over what exactly they will be doing.
Good evening, Mr. Anuzzi. If you give your name and address, business address for the record.
Sure. My name is Mark Anuzzi, President and founder of TelNet Worldwide. Our corporate address is at 1175 West Long Lake Road, Troy, Michigan. Mr. President, members of the council, thank you very much. Nice to see you again. Here to speak to you guys about the road ahead in our technological age and about the development of facilities and resources that are important to the ongoing productivity and competitive position of the businesses in our climate here. We are looking to make a substantial investment in a premier data center facility, and we're looking for support from the city in terms of helping closing some of the gaps involved in there while enhancing the revenue for decades to come to the city on such a property. There's 3 parts to my discussion today. One is to tell you more about who TelNet is. Second is to go through the project in particular. And 3 is to review some of the economic impact studies that we've had with this project. So first and foremost, TelNet Worldwide, we're a Michigan-based company. Founded in Michigan in 1998, we provide essential communication services to businesses. These are the things that every business needs in order to connect in this connected age, about voice and data, getting on the internet, hosting websites, conducting the transactions they need to do for their commerce. These are things that we do. They're very complicated things, and our claim to fame is we try to make those things very simple, very affordable for our customers. In order to take on such an ambition of this regard, you have to have great people. Our team here has hundreds of years of experience in terms of working in the technology business in general. Myself, in terms of running a prior technology company, we're experienced in building companies and creating jobs. Myself, we developed a software development company back in the mid-'80s, and come about 10 years later out, we had grown that company from 4 people to about 250 engineers. We had a merger activity in 1997, and we brought the headquarters to Southfield. Our CEO for TelNet was also experienced in the telecommunication environment. His facility, he started out a company about $4 million in revenue, brought it up to over $125 million, and he moved that headquarters from, I believe it was in Hamtramck, Michigan, over here to Southfield in 2000. In doing data centers, it's not an easy thing to do. We've worked with some key partners in terms of making sure that this is a success. These are people who've worked in developing data centers around the country, and we have a great team of people, not only for our current success, but for our ongoing success. In terms of TelNet's evolution, it's all about reinventing yourself. Once again, we live in this technological age, and this is our 15th year of being in business, and it's no small feat to stay in business that long, and clearly not in terms of a technology business due to the rapid change. But along the way, we've punctuated and continue to adapt and evolve to make sure that we're relevant, providing the kind of services and products that our customers are looking for, that are impactful for them. And the key thing is about, once again, reinventing myself. One of the key pieces behind the products we offer is a capability known as unified communications. In today's day and age, we are all very familiar with having many mobile devices, tablets, computers of different sizes. People are working from home, they're working from across town, they're working from their offices. So what has taken shape here is the notion of what you probably heard mentioned of is about the cloud. The cloud is how you take resources that we normally would have in our offices and put them into the network, and in the network then we can access them through our broadband connection to any device, any location. These are the things that are manifested in the cloud computing environment and unified communications in general. These are some of the services that we bring to the table. The map on the picture shows that we're a regionally focused company. We're a Midwestern company headquartered here once again in Michigan, but we have a footprint that takes us throughout the Great Lakes states. Over our tenure of the 15 years, we've invested over $100 million in building out capabilities in terms of these resources that work for businesses today. The list next on the screen is a list of our customers. We have the pleasure and privilege to be able to work with some of the finest companies around the state. Thousands of companies ranging from a spectrum of different industries, and each one of these we hold very dear, and we have a commitment that we place with every one of these businesses is to help make sure that we have future-proofed the investments that are required for them to continue to be productive and competitive. Next thing I'd like to tell you about TelNet is that, once again, in the theme of people, we're a people-oriented company. It's about our employees, about our customers, but also how we participate in the community. We're very much actively involved in doing things as sponsors for a number of worthy organizations. We keep on changing that around. We have Employee Make a Difference Day. We do a lot of different things that are kind of interesting and fun to help support it. And some of the things we do is every year we keep on picking worthy organizations where we provide them their services to get to the internet and make their long-distance and local phone service for free. We just provide those services. Some of them have been Promise Village for Children and Haven for Women. Some of the recent examples of that. So that's a little snapshot about who TelNet is. And what I'd like to speak to you about the project that we're working on. And once again, it's about the road we live, the road ahead. And I like to express it as that we live in exponential times. I have some bullet points here to talk about some of the dramatic things about what is taking place over just a short period of time. Sometimes we're aware of, but I'm not sure that it is as dramatic as it comes across with things like this. Number one point here is that the top 10 jobs in demand in 2010 didn't even exist in 2004. We all know Google. We use it all the time, right? And they went from 33.1 billion searches every month, and they're up to 2.7 billion in 2006. It's an astonishing growth rate. The iPhone and iPad, for example, 72% of Apple's revenue share. Neither could be bought about 6 years ago. And I was just at a conference last week, and in there they were talking about the amount of internet traffic that is expected to be transacted in the year 2014 will be greater than all of the preceding years added together. 13, 12, all the years added together. That is an amazing amount of information that's being played out. So what does this mean? What does this mean is that these resources that we use to make sure that we are relevant, that we are competitive, that we have the productivity that we need to compete in today's economy, is shifting. And data centers have become what I like to refer to as the factory floor of the internet and of cloud computing. That the fiber optics that create this broadband capabilities that have become more ubiquitous around the state are really the roads and bridges that allow us to connect into such resource centers. But for a business, what this means to a business is that it's a shift from going from capital expenditures to operational expenditures. If you want to start up a business today, to go out and have to buy the computing hardware that makes you relevant, it's quite expensive, only to be faced with the fact that that hardware could be obsolete in short order. The ability to go to a model where they move to a use-based model where they can get access to the premier types of computational resources and do it on a per SIP basis is quite a compelling trend that is taking place and will continue to grow. The other thing that's taking place here is that these resources that tend to be part of, you go to specific places like Chicago or New York or Dallas, Los Angeles to get at these types of data centers. Now we're trying to see more and more of these things being more regionally focused, so people can get at them. The next figures here are really just to take stats that have been pulled out of various publications that just show just this exponential growth rate in demand, and that there's a significant gap between what the demand is and what the availability is for these types of resources. The particular project that we're working on here is to create what is known as infrastructure as a service. So once again, companies who may even run data centers today have to decide, is that a strategic or a tactical requirement for them? Are they in the data center business, or are they actually in some other type of thing where they need to spend more of their particular attention and time? And that is turning to be the latter, where they need to be able to go in and take advantage of resources that exist in this type of facility and allow them to retake claim their capital and place it into other type of investments that are more strategic to their ongoing productivity. The last slide here is a picture of the site. It's a beautiful piece of property. It has a lot of great characteristics to it. Somehow it's been dormant as a shell for, I believe, almost 10 years. And we came across it. We believe we can make this thing into a crown jewel. I'd like at this time to invite my associate, Dan Foster, to come and speak to you about some of the economic impact, and then I will be available.
Hi, name your name and address for the record.
And I do know my address is Dan Foster. I'm with Newmark Grub, Knight Frank, and our office location is 26555 Evergreen Road. And for those of you, I was here before and I didn't know my own address. Thanks for having me. And I'm here to give an overview of the economic impact of this project and just give you a quick summary. TelNet, and I think we've gone over this, the proposed site is 40,000 square feet. It's located 21005 Blosser Road, and it is currently vacant. It's been vacant since its construction over 10 years ago. So
The exciting part of this is this project could be back into action once this deal goes through. The facility is a shell, and it will require significant improvements and complete interior build-out. The floor is literally dirt, when I say significant improvements, it's because of the rigid design requirements of a Tier 3 data center. The total real property improvements are approximately $16 million over the 2-year, 24-month period, and $21 million for the personal property over that same time. The project will create approximately 25 to 28 jobs over 3 years, paying an average salary of $67,000. Now, these are software engineers, computer engineers, skilled computer technicians, so they're high-skilled and high-wage jobs. The facility will be designed, as was mentioned previously, to accommodate 5 to 8 data center tenants, and it just depends on the size. And the important part of that is the estimated capital investment of those proposed tenants will be conservatively $50 million. So on top of the 37, there will be another $50 million. This is a breakdown of the capital investment by year and by type, so we have it broken into information technology, furniture and fixtures, machinery and equipment, and building improvements. And you can see the total of 37, 350, 600 is roughly our estimated cost. This is the tax analysis that we did. So all jurisdictions that levy a tax, the real and personal property taxes collected over the 6-year 198 period would be a combined $3.4, almost $3.5 million. And I broke it down in summer and winter, but I think the total is of most interest. Now, if you break out the city's portion over that same period, both real and personal property taxes, the total as based on our estimate, and this is based on the 37 million, not the 50 million, as was the previous slide, is almost $800,000 over the life of the abatement. The total, now when you add in the personal and real property taxes collected over the 6-year period for the tenants, we do this just for illustration purposes, you have with an abatement, it's an additional 2.5. Without an abatement, it's $4.3 million. So significant tax advantage to this project. So it's an exciting project from a tax collection standpoint, I would imagine. So if you look at the TelNet, the tenant tax impact over 6 years, we have for the city, right now you're collected, without this project, you will have collected $115,000 over the next 6 years, or $19,000 annually. That's currently what's happening. Now, the city tax revenue impact with the project, as we've just explained, will be approximately $800,000 over the 6 years from the TelNet portion of the investment, and then another $525,000 from the data center tenants. So the total new taxes to the city would be approximately $1.3 million over 6 years. So here's our total. This is an economic impact. This is a very simplified version, but here's the spin. So you start with the vacant building. You create 27 jobs and $2.4 million in payroll. The owner investment of $37.8 million spins off 14 additional jobs with another $1.2 million in payroll. And then the TelNet tenants with a $50 million investment, they'll hire a total of 30 to 40 employees will have been hired into this facility. So, this is important to see the impact, the overall impact of this type of investment to the community. It's a win-win for TelNet. It's a win-win. It's a win-win for the city of Southfield, Oakland County, and the state. It's, just to recap, a $37 million investment in real and personal property. You've got the potential, once that's made, of a $50 million investment from its tenants. And then you have the combined new job creation of $30,000 to $40,000, again, with an average wage of $67, and that's a base wage, that's not with benefits. And then over $1.3 million in new tax revenue that would be realized to the city over the next 6 years, and over $3.4 million in new tax revenue to all taxing jurisdictions over the next 6 years. So TelNet is seeking to partner with the city of Southfield, Oakland County, DTE Energy, and the Michigan Economic Development Corporation to make this a viable and successful project, and we look forward to your support. Mark's going to come up and just finalize this, and thank you for your time.
Thank you.
The key thing I wanted to make sure that we covered here today was about the road ahead. It's about continuing to be relevant so that we reinvent ourselves. These types of facilities and infrastructure are very important to our new age economy. And to be able to start our first major center out here in Southfield would be a very prideful thing for my company. I'm a Michigan person, want to do things right here at home. And we have a great opportunity to take something that's dormant, turn it into a nice jewel. The jobs that we see bringing to the table, we've already started to reach out to the career development activities here in Southfield, make sure our HR people are in touch with the folks here in Southfield, and we're looking forward to creating some awesome things together. With that concludes my formal presentation.
Anything else, Mr. Freeman? At this point, before I open the... Mr. Hardy, did you mind?
Yes.
Mark Adams, I'm with Oakland County, and my address is 2100 Pontiac Lake Road, Waterford, Michigan. And I'm here in support of Mark's project. TelNet is a great company, it's a great opportunity for the state of Michigan, Oakland County, and the city of Southfield. It's a very competitive situation because, as he was indicating, the Midwest region is being targeted for these types of opportunities now. And as you saw by one of his slides, he has a fiber ring in several different states right now, and Indiana was just one of the states that we were competing with for this type of project. But to go into a building that was dormant, that type of investment, the job opportunities is really a benefit for all. So hopefully the honorable body will support it, and we can move forward to the 21st century with this type of technology, because as he stated, this is the type of infrastructure I think that Michigan is really looking for, and the types of high-paying jobs that the community really needs. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
We also have a representative from the Michigan Economic Development Corporation, Kelly Stevens.
Good evening. And your name and address for the record.
Calpani Stevens, 300 North Washington Square, Lansing, Michigan. As Ms. Freeman said, I am with the Michigan Economic Development Corporation, and we are very pleased to have this proposed for Southfield, and we are in support of it, and we would love to see this go forward.
All right. With that, I will declare and I want to be clear here, we're doing the establishment of the Industrial Development District. And we will follow that with the property tax, personal property tax exemption. So right now, this public hearing is only on the establishment of Industrial Development District under Public Act 198. And I'll declare the public hearing open. Your name and address for the record.
Pamela Gerald, P.O. Box 155, Southfield, Michigan 48037-0155. My telephone number is 3529188. And residents, I am your independent voice for Southfield. Normally, I'm not in support of tax abatements. I don't always see the benefit to the community. Tonight, this abatement got my attention. Residents of Southfield and the people that work here at City Hall know that I am very passionate about Haven. Haven is one of the largest sexual assault and domestic violence shelters in the state of Michigan. And if I had not seen Haven's name on the screen, I probably would not be in support. You know, I always see abatement as taking from the residents. Maybe this one is different because you're giving to a very important agency. You're giving to gleaners and a lot of the community support in terms of outreach that he's giving. If you're going to get something, you can give something in return. And I think this is why, for me, this abatement is a little different. I want to encourage this gentleman to have an open door policy to the residents, because we'll be coming by to check on you, especially the members of the Southfield Citizens Oversight Coalition. I also want this organization to continue giving Haven some financial support because their financial support has been cut from the city of Southfield. I want you to also look into the Black Chamber of Commerce that we have in the city of Southfield that we've had for over a year. We want you to look into that as well. And then I also want to see if this organization would partner in some kind of way with McDonald Towers, where we have our senior center at, and see if they can make internet service available to McDonald Towers and the seniors that are there. But I do have one question. This is just to establish the district. Are there any other businesses that will be in that location that will be able to benefit from this particular district being established at 21,005 Lasser Road? But I am in support of establishing this as a district. And then I have some other comments about weed. Thank you.
Is there anyone else that wishes to address the establishment of Industrial Development District? Good evening. Your name and address for the record.
Geraldine Amantu. I think that what was presented here is very promising and convincing under the current order of things. I do believe we're dependent upon things we have no control of for any of those predictions to come to pass in the next few years. The technological age upon which we're being, I would say, suckered in, will be our undoing over time. And the creating of jobs in this technological, worldwide, international net is a trap. It's no mere coincidence that the Internet is called international net. Net catches things. World Wide Web draws things in. We don't even ask publicly, we're not allowed to, by our masters, where is the central computer that controls this international network? We know not where it is or who controls it, and yet we blithely carry on hooking up our utilities and every instrument that intimately affects our everyday living to this international global network. I argue that we have to look past the short term and begin taking a broader perspective. I argue that, yes, we live in exponential times, as the one gentleman said, and these times will bring us into disaster if we don't pull together on the local level and start doing some thinking for ourselves. In the meantime, we're scrambling to make a living within this artificially produced economy based on waste and extravagance for now, Many of us live wasteful, extravagant lifestyles, those who still have resources in possession. This is a confidence game to lure us into American dreamland, but you must see on the horizon, with even a little gleaning of news we get from all around the world, that economic disaster is imminent. Those who control the purse strings of the world are not good people. We are being set up. They're going to do us in. And if we keep going along with their program and doing things their way, we become co-conspirators in our own destruction. I just hope that there's enough people willing to change their worldview and begin putting their mind into gear and to comprehend that if we have anyone we love in the next generation of people, maybe some of us won't live long enough to see the disaster come, but if we have any people in the next generation that we care about, we should consider what is going to be their inheritance. If we continue to play footsie with malevolent overlords in control of the economies of the world, and they control this one, American dreamland is a trap, and we need to break out of it. Some of us are forced out of it. The Oakland County finance officer, or the treasurer, I forget what his title is, brought up some of the ramifications of losing homes that are mortgaged. We are on borrowed time, borrowed fiat money, and all of these projects are financed by fiat money, which is credit from world banksters, and they own us. And unless we use the resources we now have in possession for other than going along with their program, they will separate us from all our resources. They are doing it incrementally. There's no mere coincidence that the ranks of the homeless are growing and the ranks of the people losing their homes is growing. These are planned, incremental, exponential tragedies that are planned into this extravagant and artificial economic structure built upon what should have been the natural economy of this nation. If we don't return to the natural economy, we will inherit disaster. And we'll wait till 15 seconds, I will say, I hope there's enough people of courage and honor willing to take a different course of action other than going along with the masterminds and the overlords' projects. Any questions?
All right, is there anyone else who wishes to address the council in this public hearing? Good evening, Mr. Mullen.
Mr. President, my name is Gerard Mullen. My address is gerardmullen2012@gmail.com. When governments pick winners and losers via the tax system, we the taxpayers are always the losers. This is what's happening here tonight in Southfield, in these chambers right now. This council has selected TelNet to be a winner, and by doing so, this council has selected de facto the Southfield taxpayer to be the loser. That's right, you and I, the taxpayer, have been selected by this council to pay TelNet's residual tax bill. This council will claim that there are no losers here, which is too good to be true. This council will state that a tax abatement is a win-win situation. That is, by reducing TelNet's taxes, that this will magically increase the city's tax base due to a new and additional investment in this city. And henceforth, we will all be winners in the long run. Nonsense. In the long run, we're all dead. What this council purports to be a win-win situation is akin to the theory of perpetual motion. There seems to be something amiss here. Scientists can dismiss the nonsense of perpetual motion with controlled experiment. Economists can dismiss the nonsense of win-win, the economic equivalent of perpetual motion, with a thought experiment. Bear with me. If this council is right, that by reducing TelNet's taxes, that this will magically increase the city's tax base due to a new and additional investment in this city, then why not do the same for all businesses, period? And henceforth, create an infinite tax base that will produce an infinite amount of revenue for this city. And therefore, this city could afford to pave the city streets in gold, even evergreen in front of City Hall. It's nonsense, just like perpetual motion. Another way I can illustrate that a tax abatement is really a scam is by asking this council to answer the following question. Extraordinary statements require extraordinary proof. What is this council's extraordinary proof? The hard evidence that tax abatements really work. The answer? There is none. Because it's a scam, a state-regulated Ponzi scheme. Just another state-sponsored scam like the state lottery. In other words, just another way that politicians fleece the poor. This council may come up with a feeble reply to my question, like this, quote, in a competitive economy, a tax abatement is a tool, unquote. It's a tool, a political tool, a tool to pick winners and losers, a tool to reward the rich at the expense of the poor, a tool to reward council's friends, and a tool to punish council's enemies, a tool, a political tool. This council really doesn't believe in free markets, that is capitalism. Instead, it believes in a perverted form of socialism, where the poor, namely you and I, the taxpayer, give to the rich, the super rich, like TelNet. What's next on council's agenda? Food stamps for Bill Gates, a care package for Warren Buffett? When will this nonsense stop? It's time for a change. Again, this council should not be picking winners and losers. Only the voters should be picking winners and losers. And hopefully later this year, the voters will pick a council that doesn't pick winners and losers. And finally, remember this. What we the residents did to Walmart, we the voters can do the same to you. Remember, folks,
15 seconds.
Remember Walmart before you cast your vote tonight for this Ponzi scheme that is designed to fleece the Southfield taxpayer, namely you, me, and my friends at home, watching you folks here on TV.
Is there anyone else who wishes to address the council on this public hearing?
Mr. President?
Yes.
Okay, Kurt Goldberg, City Treasurer, 26,000 Evergreen Road, Southfield, Michigan, 48076. I normally take a behind-the-scenes role with these public hearings, especially when it comes to tax abatements, but I just wanted to speak in support of this one, especially in response to the last speaker. We had just overcome the very controversial Walmart decision, and many residents have approached me saying that the city doesn't want the tax revenues. We have generated $100,000 a year in taxes potentially. Why doesn't the city want to have that? And then meanwhile, if people paid attention to today's presentation, even with the tax abatement, we're actually going to be generating for the city over $150,000 per year for city tax dollars. That's more than 150% of what the taxes would have been even on the Walmart project. So we do care very much about tax revenues for the city, and especially this tax abatement is very favorable in my eyes because it's a 50-50 share. The company is not getting 100% tax abatement. They're still paying 50% of the portion of their taxes. So it's very important. And as far as what the previous speaker had mentioned about tax abatements not working, the United States government actually just had a tax abatement for every single middle-income and low-income individual by having a Social Security tax reduction of 2%. Everyone's Social Security tax were reduced on their paycheck by 2% for about a 2-year time period. That allowed for a stimulus to help the economy to overcome one of the hardest challenges that we faced, one of the worst recessions that we faced. And now the economy is getting back slowly onto its feet. So tax abatements, when it's done properly, can work. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Goldenberg. Is there anyone else who wishes to address the council? If not, I will declare the public hearing closed. Council?
Chair?
Yes.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we approve the creation of the Industrial Development District requested to facilitate the development of a Tier 3 Data 2 Center for the expansion of TelNet worldwide.
Support.
It's been moved by Ms. Jordan and supported by Mr. Moss. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Next, Ms. Freeman, we have TelNet again, but you'll explain the distinction.
Right. So now we will be asking for you to have a public hearing to place the real and personal property in the district that was just created.
Correct.
So again, they are looking to invest $37 million in real and personal property, $16 million in capital improvements, and $21 million in personal property. We are looking to have this for a term of 6 years.
Okay. And I don't think the petitioner has anything to add because we heard it all in the first presentation. So with that, then I will declare the public hearing open. Anyone wishing to speak on the tax abatement for TelNet, come to the microphone. Thank you. And your time is started.
I just wanted to give you a compliment, Mr. President, that I've been coming to these council meetings for over 28 years, and I've watched a lot of people in that position as council president, right there in the center where the city logo is, and I would have to say by far, you are absolutely the best one. Professional, poised, polite, and you respect people at the podium, and that's a good trait, Mr. Cyber. I'm concerned about the fact that there's 2 PA 198s, Pamela Gerald, P.O. Box 155, Southfield, Michigan, 48037-0155. My telephone number is 248-352-9188. I'm concerned about the fact that there's 2 PA 198s. Normally, when this type of deal comes up before council with the public hearing, there's usually a PA 198 to establish the district and a PA 328 for personal property. Now, I don't profess to understand everything, but I have a couple of questions. Why is it a second PA 198? And when you talk about real property, are we talking about the building and those capital improvements that become permanent to the structure? And does that mean that it's a 50% reduction of the real property? I know personal property is like office furniture, servers, cubicles, that type of thing. So can you explain the real property and the personal property? Is it 50% of each one of them? And why was it a PA 198 as opposed to a PA 328? I'm just going to stop it right there and see if they will answer those questions. Explain to the residents more specifically the real property versus the personal property and why a PA 198 as opposed to a PA 328. Thank you.
Anyone else?
If you would like, I could have the imposter explain this.
Let's we'll address any concerns or confusion when we've heard from everybody else who wants to speak. Is there any other person who wishes to address the council?
Geraldine, I understand that such huge corporations do have quite a bit of resources, and they are the ones that are permitted to come here and ask for tax exemptions under this current private commercial order that we're structured under. No one really has any real property or personal property, neither a corporation or an individual today. It's all owned by those who own the central bank of this nation. We have an illusion of ownership, so we play around with these formulas here at the local level, but in reality, we are just flunkies for a larger project of divesting us all of whatever we possess today. I'm reminded of a couple of women here that are trying to start up a small business. They can go nowhere as far as coming to the municipal corporation and asking for any kind of exemptions in any way. They have a little store over there by Discount Tire on Southfield in that little strip mall, resale place. And they have a difficult time just meeting expenses trying to get a little business started. Those are the people that would be the anchor for the local economy if we had different formulas upon which to work, but we don't. TelNet worldwide, I was impressed that it's a regional outfit, even though it's worldwide as far as the, the reach of the exponential and international net. However, we are building a house of cards or building on sandy ground, and we're taking a lot for granted that is now promised to us by the malevolence that now control this economy, control the finances of this nation, and control the finances of the world. If we don't snap to it and realize where we're at in this situation, we could play around with these little projects here at the local level, so we are helping the mastermind set us all up, whether we're with the corporate employees or employers, or whether we're with government entities. We have been reduced to being subjects of those in control of the wealth of this nation. None of us own whatever we possess, but some of us still have resources in possession that we could choose to engage for other than going along with the program, where we're going to be exponentially reduced to abject slavery. More of us are feeling the pinch, and we should realize where we're at. I will end here before the 5 minutes expire, and hope that something I've said is inspiring to someone to think for themselves in this milieu of propaganda and fake promises and fake formulas.
Is there anyone else who wishes to address the council at this public hearing?
Mr. President, my name is Gerard Mullen. My address is gerardmullen2012@gmail.com. When governments pick winners and losers via the tax system, we the taxpayers are always the losers. This is what's happening here tonight in Southfield, in these chambers right now. This council has selected TelNet to be a winner, and by doing so, this council has selected de facto the Southfield taxpayer to be the loser. That's right, you and I, the taxpayer, have been selected by this council to pay TelNet's residual tax bill. This council will claim that there are no losers here, which is too good to be true. This council will state that a tax abatement is a win-win situation. That is, by reducing TelNet's taxes, this will magically increase the city's tax base due to a new and additional investment in this city, and henceforth, we will all be winners in the long run. Nonsense. In the long run, we're all dead. What this council purports to be a win-win situation is akin to the theory of perpetual motion. There seems to be something amiss here. Scientists can dismiss the nonsense of perpetual motion with a controlled experiment. Likewise, economists can dismiss the nonsense of win-win, the economic equivalent of perpetual motion, with a thought experiment. Bear with me. If this council is right, that by reducing TelNet's taxes, that this will magically increase the city's tax base due to a new and additional investment in this city, then why not do the same for all businesses, period? And henceforth, create an infinite tax base that will produce an infinite amount of revenue for this city. And therefore, the city could afford to pay the city streets in gold, even evergreen, in front of City Hall. It's nonsense, just like perpetual motion. It's nonsense. Another way I can illustrate that a tax abatement is really a scam is by asking this council to answer the following question. Extraordinary statements require extraordinary proof. What is this council's extraordinary proof, the hard evidence that tax abatements really work? The answer, there is none, because it's a scam, a state-regulated on-site scheme, just another state-sponsored scam like the state lottery. In other words, just another way that politicians fleece the poor. This council may come up with a feeble reply to my question like this, quote, in a competitive economy, a tax abatement is a tool, unquote. It's a tool, a political tool, a tool to pick winners and losers, a tool to reward the rich at the expense of the poor, a tool to reward council's friends, and a tool to punish council's enemies, a tool, a political tool. This council doesn't really believe in free markets, that is capitalism. Instead, it believes in a perverted form of socialism, where the poor, namely you and I, the taxpayer, give to the rich, the super rich, like TelNet. What's next on council's agenda? Food stamps for Bill Gates? A care package for Warren Buffett? When will this nonsense stop? It's time for a change. Again, this council should not be picking winners and losers. Only the voters should be picking winners and losers. And hopefully later this year, the voters will pick a council that doesn't pick winners and losers. And finally, remember this. What we, the residents, did to Walmart, we, the voters, can do the same to you. Remember, folks, remember Walmart before you cast your vote tonight for this Ponzi scheme that is designed to fleece the Southfield taxpayer, namely you, me, and my friends at home watching you folks here on TV.
Is there anyone else who wishes to address the council on this public hearing?
I think our city treasurer is next.
Thank you for asking me to respond. What I'd like to notify the previous speaker is that 2/3 of our tax base is actually made up of corporate taxpayers. So our residents are living on the backs of the corporations. The corporations are helping the little people, the average homeowner, that we should have to pay smaller tax bills, and they pick up the majority of the taxes in the city. So they make up a smaller square footage area in the city, and the residents actually take up more, but the burden is lifted off of our taxpayers. And so, again, to have a robotic repeat of a speech and not pay attention to what was said, I mean, we need to grow our tax base in the city. We need to attract companies, and we will open our arms to any company that wants to come here. And if they want to bring their company, bring their employees, and invest their capital into our city, we will share some of the burden with them if necessary.
Mr. Overberg, could you just clarify that one comment you made, that the residents are living on the backs of the business? I think everybody's chipping in.
Everyone's chipping in.
You know, we don't want to just go out one group, but we're all in this together.
We're definitely all in this together, Councilman, and definitely what I meant was that the 2/3 of the burden is being shared by the corporations. So the corporations are not getting a free ride by the taxpayers of the city, and so that it's important that they are paying their share as well.
All right, we're still in the middle of a public hearing. Is there anyone else who wishes to address the council on this proposal? I'm sorry. Come forward, Ms. Stevens. Good evening, Ms. Yee.
Good evening. I'm Ms. Wong Yee. I live at 20130 Manchester. All night I'm hearing money, 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 taxes, 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 rebate, rebate, rebate. Has anybody ever thought that TelNet is a wonderful thing to come into Southfield? It's taking us into the next I'm 79, I'm an old lady, okay? But I can Skype. I can Facebook. I wish other old ladies would catch up with me. Then they wouldn't be yelling and yelling about all this rebate stuff. TelNet is a wonderful, wonderful new thing coming to Southfield. I know it is not the building. I know about clouds. It goes beyond that. And you know I have a young son that's now, he's not so young anymore, double major. Just put in Skype for me and I just am having a ball. Please, let this wonderful company come in. It's going to bring in other nice companies. It's going to take Southfield into the next century. We're not just going to be a little old ring subdivision. We are going to be it if we let companies like TelNet expand. And so a little rebate, hey, we're going to get the money back several hundred times back. That's my comment. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hughes. Is there anyone else who wishes to address the council at this public hearing? Seeing none, I declare the public hearing closed.
Mr. Chair,
Ms. Jordan?
I make a motion that we approve the request from TelNet for real and personal property tax exemption under PA Act 198 as amended.
Been moved by Ms. Jordan,
Support.
been supported by Mr. Moss. Is there any discussion?
Yeah, Mr. President, just before we vote on this, I want to say a few things, because I agree with the last speaker, that really this project is at the right place, at the right time. It brings Southfield at the forefront of the largest and fastest growing industry in the world. It's an opportunity for Southfield to really partner, because this type of investment, on the map that we had in our presentation, they have places all over the Midwest and the surrounding states that they could have made this investment. And it really is a sign that we are a good place to do business. So I actually did have a question about why you did choose Southfield. And I don't want to just selfishly hear all the good things about the city, but I think that putting it on record, a developer, a person who's investing capital into the city of Southfield, just kind of helps us kind of take some talking points moving forward as we seek other development projects, but also gets some good word about Southfield out there. So why did you choose Southfield?
Great question. First, as I mentioned many times, I'm born and raised in Michigan. We have a Midwest presence. We have our network that has come through this area. And Southfield has a lot of good things going on within it in terms of other technology companies that have put down investments in this area. And through a cooperative effort of what we're doing, we actually are complementing other investors who have placed their property here. So it's this kind of symbiotic thing that's taking place where our investment is on the back of some of these other guys and vice versa. And so we see this combinatorial effect taking place. So yes, on that map, we've built out a wonderful footprint, and we like the Midwest. But as a Michigan guy, I was hoping and praying that I could start right here, because that's where we started in 1998. I started right in Southfield at another data center property, which is pretty awesome, called Level 3. And we're looking to take what they did and take it to the next level.
Great. Another thing is that Mr. Frazier and I were talking about this. Our field zone, which is our youth teen center here, is actually located in the basement of this building, is a Boys and Girls Club of South Oakland County. So I just wanted to make sure that you were aware of that. I know that's one of the organizations you support and sponsor. So as you expand your presence in the city, please note that you have another Boys and Girls Club you can invest in too.
Awesome.
Ms. Jordan?
Through the chair, to the gentleman from the MEDC in Lansing. With this business coming to our city, what can you do statewide to funnel other businesses of this magnitude to the city of Southfield? How can we get a competitive edge here where you can speak for us and direct other businesses to our city? And I am putting you on the spot.
No problem, Councilwoman. So my position at the MEDC is as a business development manager, and Southfield is one of the cities in my portfolio of cities. What we do as business development managers is we visit companies that are already in the state of Michigan, We help them to choose locations in the state of Michigan so that they can expand and grow here in Michigan. Your question was, what can we do as a state to help more companies come to Southfield?
Such as this.
Such as this.
Companies that bring jobs and $67,000 salaries to it.
More and better jobs. So what we can do is we can have an open environment. We can have an environment where companies know the process. So the more transparent you are with your processes, the easier it is for a company to look at Southfield, to call up Shelley and say, hey, I'm thinking of investing here. What are my taxes going to be? I'm thinking of investing here. What are the regulations that I have to meet? I'm thinking of investing here. Who are the different people that I need to talk to understand all of the minutia of the detail that I will come up against? The easier it is for a company to do that, the easier it is for a company to invest in Southfield. So that's what you can do. What I can do is I can continue to meet with companies. Shelley and Mark and I work together very collaboratively. We all have one another's cell phone numbers, including personal cell phone numbers. We are available to each other, and I do make the promise that I am available to them when they call or email or text and say, hey, I have this burning company that we need to go meet with, and we need you there so that we can talk about the different programs that the state can bring to bear. That's what I can do.
Okay, thank you. Look forward to working with you.
Yeah, go ahead.
I just want to take a stab at that because even though I work for the county and I represent all 900 square miles, 932, but particularly in Southfield, you have switching stations and you have a good fiber ring, and that's known and that's communicated. So when I go out, whether it's throughout the United States or whether we go out internationally, which we do, we talk to businesses and find out what they're looking for, and then we can match them with what the needs of certain communities have. And Southfield has those types of switching stations. So does Pontiac and a few other communities in Oakland County that sort of build out for these types of businesses better than others. And when you look at Nexus, 123.net, you look at Cyber, you look at Secure24, you look at what Raymond James and their data center has done. These are all companies that I've worked with along with Shelley and the MEDC. So it is a good partnership, but knowing what you have to offer and what competitive advantages you have is what will draw these types of businesses to Southfield. And also these technical people, they realize where those switching stations at and where the fiber is at, and so they want to come in to those types of communities. So I think you're seeing more of these types of companies in Southfield than in other parts of Oakland County, and I think it's going to continue to grow. Just as Mark mentioned, one business is building off of the next, and they talk within their trade too.
Okay, thank you for being our ambassador and just continuing to get the word out of what we do offer here.
I just want to also add one component. The city is very proactive, and in April we are going out with the MEDC to a trade show in Chicago for bio companies. So we are working with the state, and we are out there aggressively looking for companies to bring back. So we're not just relying on them to feed us information.
Thank you.
Ms. Freeman, while you're at the microphone, why don't you clarify the point that was raised earlier regarding the 198 and the 328?
Oh, certainly. So the state of Michigan has established a variety of different incentives that are available to communities. The city of Southfield is known as a core community, as we're a first suburb to the city of Detroit. So the state has offered us unique tools that some of our surrounding communities are not afforded. The opportunity to use a 328, which is 100% personal property abatement, to entice people to come to our community. So some of the other communities, such as Farmington Hills or Birmingham, they're not allowed to utilize that tool readily. So that's one type of incentive that we're allowed to bring to the business community, to bring them to the city of Southfield. a company that's building out either a manufacturing or a high-tech facility, research and development, throughout the state are able to utilize the 198 tool, which is a 50% abatement of their real and personal. The city of Southfield currently has a matrix that we use to offer these types of incentives. And in working with TelNet, we had some discussions about some of our needs, and so we came up with a 6-year agreement for us, but that's something that we negotiated with the company.
Thank you. Mr. Frazier, do you have?
Yeah, I know that we had visitors to the microphone that criticize our decisions and say we pick winners and losers. When I saw this project and had to think my way through this project, there were some real easy things for me to decide. First of all, we had a building that had been sitting vacant for probably about 10 years, and had it sat vacant for a few more years, it would start to deteriorate, and then we would have had to make some decisions on what do we do with a building that had never brought in any money other than the basic property taxes, and how do we deal with that? It's an absolutely gorgeous building. If you haven't seen it, and it's just a shell of a building. If you look in the windows, it still has a dirt floor. So when a company comes in and says, I can invest $37 million in this shell of a building and bring people in that are going to earn in the high $60,000 salaries, who will purchase gas, go to our restaurants, maybe even purchase homes in our community. It wasn't all that difficult for me to make a decision that this is a good decision to make. And in addition to that, years ago, we started laying the groundwork for this, because the fiber ring has been in, and has been in for years, waiting for someone to take advantage of it. And this company saw the value of what we had done in years past, making the preparations for moving forward into the 21st century. The other thing that, and it's sort of a byproduct, and that is, there are a lot of things that are going on in Southfield that don't, if you're not making the connections, they look like individual events, but when you step back and take a look at the big picture, they really are kind of tied together. For instance, about a week or so ago, the CEO of Microsoft was in the city and was at our mayor's university to get a doctoral degree because he attended Lawrence Tech. Now, Microsoft is not just a small business, but the CEO went to Lawrence Tech here in our city. So the city of Southfield is known around the world. And when we have emissaries out in the world that are talking about things, we can expect more companies to come into Southfield and want to do business because we're ready. And this council is also, we're really recipients of past councils' forward thinking of putting the fiber optics in the ground, making the ring ready to come into the new century. So when I went through all of this, it just wasn't a hard decision. And to have someone come to the microphone and say, we don't know what we're doing, I think they need to sit down and think their way through that too. So that's my remark. Thank you.
Anyone else? Mayor?
I just want, Councilman Frazier really summed it up well. I just want to add to the fact that I do hope that the council will approve this. This is an excellent addition to our city. And it is
have people that get the eggs and people are coming and you need a gas station so people can buy gas. And it just keeps growing and it starts with a chicken. So we started our chicken with the ring. This is something I want to say to the administration, into our support staff that we have here. We made an excellent investment, like Councilman Frazier said, in developing these switches and developing these fiber rings. I don't want us to lose that edge. So as technology changes and to the management of this company, you know what the future is. You know what, as we continue to grow and as the cloud becomes the universe, I don't know what's next. But as these things continue to grow, as an industry, I want us, through our planners, through the Michigan Economic Development, through the county, and through our own city staff, to really keep this council informed of what are those things that we can plan for in the future. And we get a sweet spot with, we complain about it because our right-of-ways are being torn up every other day. And, we lived through that. And then we have witnessed all of the companies that have come to Southfield because of that. And I want us to, because we are here today, but 50 years from now, Councilman Ross thinks he's going to be here, but 50 years from now, there'll be a new council, and the city of Southfield will still be here, and we need to plant that seed. So however we can do that, and I would like the administration to bring that to us, how can we stay in touch with like Councilwoman Jordan said, this is our edge right now. And I want to continue to have that edge, and that comes from guidance and being informed and connected to the technology industry, and so that we can continue to do the right thing in our infrastructure. Is it upgrading switches, and what do we need to do? And so this is, to me, a very good night, and we're glad you're here. And I just want us to continue to have that edge long into the future of the city.
I would just add,
I just wanted to comment on that. We are, through engineering and GIS, we're going through extensive exercises to map out this infrastructure. There are some things, and we'll come back to council in the legislative arena, that where certain public policies are made at the state level that impair our ability to fully and adequately know all the pieces of infrastructure that are in place. I also want to comment, council, the last 4 years, the cluster you've built in this in the IT tech arena, a lot of them have been collaborative partnerships through tax abatements. Many of the companies named by Mark Adams from Oakland County were all entities that we partnered, and you see this cluster development paying dividends. Our state rep, our MEDC folks, Oakland County reps, working with our business development folks in the retention efforts and the attraction efforts, you see that cluster developing. We've recently started mapping a number of these buildings. The slide where they show the factory floor and this technology-led economic development. This is an incredible strategy. We will come back to council because there are some legislative items that I think Southfield, because of what's happened here, we need to be communicating to the rest of the state some public policy concerns to make sure that where these investments are being made are properly being tracked so we know where this infrastructure is. Thank you.
Thank you. I would just sum up that tonight we're asked to vote, and we can do nothing, and keep a building that was built 10 years ago on spec, never occupied, and right now we're collecting $19,000 a year on it, and as Mr. Frazier indicates, we might not be collecting that much on it in years ahead, or in over the 6 years, or we can vote for this and bring in an excellent company with good paying jobs, and that will have spin-off, economic spin-off, not only for building out this building, but the people that work there will certainly, and I'm sure you'll be using hotel rooms and gas stations and restaurants and stores and so on. So the choice is I think it's very clear, and it's a very easy decision for me. We would also, council always encourages our economic development partners to, if you can hire locally, we encourage you to do that. We encourage you, we have a new brochure on Southfield housing options that we'd love to have you distribute to your prospective staff. And we always encourage our partners to join the Southfield Chamber of Commerce. If you consider those things, we'd appreciate it. So we have a motion on the floor made by Sylvia Jordan and supported by Jeremy Moss to approve the real and personal property tax abatement under 198 for TelNet Worldwide. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. And thank you, and we look forward to the ribbon cutting. Okay, next we're going to go to GP 1249 and SP 1294. This is a special use and site plan review request of Alan Pruss of Monument Engineering Associates to convert a single-family home into a religious institution. And I'm going to turn this over to City Planner Mr. Crowe.
I'll just wait for the projector
Yes.
to finish. Through the chair, as you stated, GP 1249, SP 1294, special use and site plan review request to convert a single-family house into a religious institution in the RE single-family residential district. The property is located at 21491 Beach Road on the southwest corner of Beach and Rougewood. The Planning Department received the special use and site plan request on November 19, 2012. The Planning Commission held a public hearing on this matter on February 27, 2013, and made a favorable recommendation subject to 10 conditions. In addition, the Site Plan Committee met on March 13, 2013, and forwarded this with a favorable recommendation. An additional condition was put on the recommendation that the proposed 6-foot wide asphalt path along Beach Road shall be constructed in accordance with city standards. The conditions are outlined in the City Planner's recommended resolution dated March 18, 2013. I have a brief video before the applicant comes up to speak.
The request of Alan Pruss of Monument Engineering Group Associates Incorporated to convert a single-family home to a religious institution. The property is located at 21491 Beach Road on the southwest corner of Beach Road and Rougewood Drive, Lot 39 of the Rougewood Knoll subdivision, Sidwell parcel 2432426-007 in section 31 of the city. The subject property, as well as the properties to the north across Rougewood Drive, the west, south, and east across Beach Road are zoned RE single-family residential. With regard to the existing land uses, the subject properties, as well as the properties to the north across Rougewood Drive and to the west are developed with single-family homes fronting Rougewood Drive. The properties to the south are developed with a single-family home and vacant lots fronting Rouge Court. The properties to the east across Beach Road are developed with a single-family home fronting Beach Road and part of the Beechwood Golf Course. The proposed site contains 6.27 acres of land with 751.94 feet of frontage along Beach Road and a depth ranging from 140 to 260 feet. The special use request is to permit a religious institution within the RE single-family residential zoning district. The submitted site plan reflects the conversion of the single-family home to a religious institution. The parking required for the development is 19 spaces with 22 provided on site. The landscape provided conforms to ordinance requirements. The elevations reflect a mix of brick and glass. Issues considered by the planning department during the review of the special use and site plan were the standards and conditions of the special use requirements of the RE single-family residential zoning district for religious institutions. The petitioner is to implement the recommendations made by the Southfield Police Department's Crime Prevention Bureau regarding site security. The proposal is in accordance with the Southfield Comprehensive Master Plan, noting low-density single-family for this parcel. The appellant must obtain a zoning board of appeals waiver for the required wall on all sides of the development adjacent to residential zoning.
Mr. Crowe, anything else over here from the petitioner?
Not at this time. I'd ask the petitioner to just review some of the physical changes on the site.
Okay. If you'd state your name and business address for the record. Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Alan Cross. Business address is 638 South Grand Avenue in Fowlerville, 48836. Mr. Crowe's presentation pretty much summed up what we're planning on the site. It is actively or being run as a Buddhist place of worship for people of Buddhist faith. It's been in establishment since 1997, at its current location since 2003. The current membership is around 30 members. Some of the services that they provide are counseling, meditation, yoga, chanting for indoors only. They have special events by arrangement, some memorial services. Other events, major functions are held at an off-site facility that's more appropriate for the size of the event. Just some of the general characteristics of the property itself. The west side is heavily vegetated. There's about an 8 to 10 foot ravine or ditch that separates that lot from the immediate neighbor's lot. The south side is the Rouge River. The property line goes to the Rouge River. There's about a 20-foot elevation difference there as well. East side is Beach Road, and the north side is Rougewood Drive. There's no direct access from the site through Rougewood Drive, so the site's fairly isolated from the rest of the subdivision. Access is only, vehicular access is only from Beach Drive. Again, the site improvements are 22 parking spaces. We're improving both, it has a horseshoe-shaped drive access. We're improving both of those to accommodate emergency vehicle access to the site. We are providing some stormwater management in our plans, some pre-treatment before it drains. It'll drain to the west. We're not adding any storm sewer infrastructure. It's all going to sheet flow into a sedimentation basin, and then a lot of it will flow down after it's treated into the Rouge River. Providing additional landscaping. One of the requests by one of the adjoining neighbors was some screening along the west side of the parking lot in order to prevent the headlight, light pollution into his property. Building improvements include some fire safety, some general improvements based on building code for safety, ADA, requirements for the restrooms and such. Some current issues are obviously the parking based on the usage. The tenants or the group tries to mitigate that by either rescheduling, if there's too many people that are planning to show up for a particular scheduled event, they try to reschedule those individuals. They do have permission from Rouge or from the golf course across the street to utilize some of their parking on occasion, and they will shuttle those individuals back and forth with a private van. And that's all I have. I do have one letter that was presented to me tonight from the Beechwood Acres homeowners association in support of the project. Mayor,
Could you read that, please?
sure. This dated today, March 18, 2003, dear City Council. The Beechwood Acres Homeowners Association Board had recently learned of the possible rezoning of the Great Lakes Buddhist Temple at 21491 Beach Road. As we understand, this rezoning will allow the parking lot to be enlarged and that a small sign can be added to the property. The board has no objections to those changes. Beechwood Acres Homeowner Association President Clyde Ditt.
Through the chair, just one clarification. This is a special use, it's not a rezoning. Just to clarify the letter, and I have a couple of additional comments to make. I also wanted to make note that there is an existing fence that is located in the right-of-way, which will be relocated onto the property proper. So it's a 6-foot screening fence along the frontage. There is an existing footpath that runs behind the fence that will be enlarged to 6 feet wide and be built to city standards from the northern property line to the driveway. So those are 2 additional items. There are no physical changes to the exterior of the building, just some modifications on the interior as stated by Mr. Bruce.
Will that footpath be paved or?
It'll be a paved, 6-foot wide asphalt path, constructed to city standards in the right-of-way.
That's excellent.
Just one benefit to that is that the path is currently inside the fence, and it's not physically connected to Ridgewood Drive, which we would propose as part of our plan. So we would have actual physical connection to Ridgewood through our property.
This would allow walkers and bikers?
Correct.
Because there's no curbs on that stretch of the road?
Yep. Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, at that, I'll declare the public hearing open on the special use and site plan. Anyone wishing to speak on this proposal, come to the microphone.
Namaste.
And state your name and address for the record.
Pamela Gerald, P.O. Box 155, Southfield, Michigan 48037-0155. My telephone number is 248-352-9188. I heard it stated that someone that works for the city said something that I thought was pretty negative, that they did not want this project because the chanting would bother the community and make a whole lot of noise. That's not true. I'm a Christian. I don't knock any religion, but I do know that chanting is not loud to the point where it won't disrupt the community like putting a Walmart on 12 Mile and Southfield Road against our will would have done. That would have been trouble. That's the first point I wanted to make. Second of all, I respect the fact that this gentleman did what everybody should do when they want to do something in the city of Southfield or start a business. He came to the city. He has gone through proper channels to make this happen and did it the legal and official way to ask for a special land use. So I think that council should look at that. Other potential businesses should look at this as an example of how you're supposed to do it. And if we can allow, and other residents will get up here and say something as well, if we can allow people to have a construction company in a residential area and it's illegal, or run a bus company for 25 years when it's illegal in the city, we can do this for this gentleman because he came and did it the right way. So I'm in total support of the fact that he came here, he did it the right way, and he's asking properly for a special land use. Thank you.
All right, anyone else wishing to speak? Good evening.
Good evening. The Honorable Council President, Council members, Honorable Mayor. I'm Evangeline Burton. My address is BNTV 2003@yahoo.com. 48033 is my zip code. I am a resident of Southfield, Michigan.
I'd like to preempt my speech with, I spoke with a couple of the board members of the community association tonight, and they weren't able to make it because of illness, and they weren't for this. I don't know where that letter came from, but they weren't for it. It is important to maintain a viable tax base in Southfield. Given the harsh economic times in which we are faced with, it doesn't seem feasible that the city council would approve or would consider approving a residential area being rezoned for a private home to be used as a religious entity, which would not be required to pay city taxes. My family and I have resided, and I would like to back up and say this would be setting a dubious precedent, which could only ricochet throughout the city. My family and I have resided in our residence on Beach for the last 25 years. We have found it to be a peaceful, picturesque place to stay. True, it is a busy thoroughfare, but this adds to the dichotomy of the area. It's serene, but yet busy, but we have a thoroughfare, that is, the people are going through, passing through, not staying. Whereas with a religious entity on the corner, it would bring in extra noise, extra traffic, extra people, extra outsiders, all of whom may not be in agreement with the religious faith and may come for other reasons, such as gawking or surveying the area. When my family and I moved on Beach, we didn't move there with a business at that corner. But this is a residential area. There are several areas in the city, such as Southfield and 12 Mile, that have already been designated for worship. And they already have ample space for parking and extra traffic. We've seen on some of the worship days, I think Sunday seems to be their worship day, where there has been an overabundance of traffic, parking, more than 22 cars in the yard, on Rougewood, on Beach. Of course, I haven't seen it many lately, I guess. Maybe there have been no services lately. We would appreciate it if the council would carefully consider or reconsider this property as not to be rezoned as a religious entity, since this is not an area that was intended for this. It was intended for residents. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wishes to address the council? Please come to the microphone, state your name.
Keith Harris, 21685 Rougewood Drive. I live just one door down from these guys. Oh, man. I wish I had more neighbors like them. I'm hoping you approve it. I also live one door down from a construction company that didn't go through this honorable council. I also live directly behind Kenneth Carr, who did not come before this honorable council. Matter of fact, I was in a zoning board meeting, and I was told one of the people who represent the city said that this council can be superseded. The council, the city council, the zoning board, and the planning board. They actually swung a deal with him through the prosecutor's department to run his illegal bus company. So when I see a company, when I see an organization that come before you and they're doing it the right way, all the proper steps, I commend them for it. Because I've only been living here 7 years. 7 years of pure hell listening to diesel start up, diesel engines. And I'm going to tell you something, one of the most peaceful situations I've had since I've been here is going to their home and receiving some sort of solitude from just the nepotism that takes place in this city. I don't want to use the word payoff, but when I hear Mr. Carr say to me and on this mic, I've been sued since I've been here, sued for stopping an illegal company. Frivolous lawsuits been brought against me. My family's been threatened. And when I hear somebody say I had the help of the city help me run my business, it's all on paper. When he said, when one of the zoning board officers said, well, where did you get all the dirt, all the gravel to turn your backyard into a parking lot? He said, the city helped me. I had city employees with 20-yard dump trucks help me build my parking spot. So when I see someone doing it the right way, and if they did not change the transcripts from the last zoning board meeting with Kenneth Carr, you would be able to read it and hear exactly what Mr. Carr said, and in the process, he threatened me again. I'm going to bring another lawsuit against you. So here I am today saying, you know, the only place, this has been one of the best neighbors I've had since I've been here. Quiet, peaceful, never seen any cars, never seen any overloaded cars. Matter of fact, I think I've never even seen more than 12 cars in this parking lot. So I'm really hoping, you know, this council, you know, step up to the plate and say yes to something good in this city. Because I heard one of Brenda Lawrence's speeches is why I moved here, for diversity and change. And this is part of that diversity and change. But, you know, for me to spend $200,000 on a home 7 years ago before the belly fell out, if I would have knew this, I would have never came to the city of Southfield. Never. If I would have knew there was an illegal bus company behind me, I would have never moved here. But for this guy to be one of my neighbors, it makes me feel better. It honestly makes me feel better to know that I have someone that I can pray with and go somewhere and get some peace. So I'm hoping you approve this. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Take the microphone.
Hello, Mayor, President, Council. My name is Alma Shannon. I live at 21755 Buddhist Road. I don't have anything against the religion. I moved out there because it was quiet, peaceful. I can watch the deer sit up in flowers. No problem. No church. No home. Yes. Now, here's some flower bill. He won't be next door to the church. A home turning into a church. Okay? If he's going to spend over $100,000 or more for a church, to turn his house into it, they already have buildings that's already ready-made for his religion. And I'm hoping and praying that he'll do that instead of changing it into a church, that it stays as a residence. So if he will open up his place as a church, then maybe I want to come along and open up me a nightclub at my house. But probably, I would probably get turned down. But the point is, can we please keep it as a residential? Thank you.
Hello, I'm Clyde Dick. I live at 21770 Maplewood here in Southfield. I live just half a block away from the buyer. Been there for more than 20 years. Fact of the matter is, they've been practicing that home for more than 10 years, or at least about 10 years. It has been quiet. I have never received complaints. They've been unimposing. I do appreciate them coming to the council. They have invited people into their home. I have been there myself. I have seen what goes on. I think that this city does indeed support diversity. Any and all faiths are welcome in our city. As far as the taxes, it's my understanding that they have had an abatement on taxes for their entire time in that home. They're not losing what we haven't been getting. With that in mind, and with all the changes they're willing to make, that are not, they're not building a new temple, they're just making enhancements. With that in mind, as Beechwood Acres Homeowners Association President, I do indeed support them. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Reverend Ankit Chiatinamura. I'm the president of this Great Lakes Buddhist Buddhist organization. Good evening, everyone, and I'm very happy to see Brenda Lawrence, our mayor, after some time. I'm very happy to share this few ideas actually with you all. We have been in the city of Southfield from 1997, and of course in this new location for 10 years. What we are doing here, actually, part of our main practice is the practicing of meditation. So, in this evening, as I heard many things about the money, the business in this city, I think we should not forget that the spiritual need for our life is one of the main needs that we all have at some point. So, therefore, I think we are very happy to be here in the city of Southfield as Buddhist monks, as a Buddhist community, to serve this city with a peaceful environment. As I mentioned, to provide with the spiritual needs for anyone who is willing to practice this spirituality. So, I see many people are beginning to appreciate this transformation in their life in terms with the spirituality. You know, many students, young people, scholarly people, many different people come to our temple, our residence there, to learn these techniques of meditation, how to relax their body, how to calm their mind, how to purify their mind. So this is a very special thing to maintain a city or any environment in a peaceful way. As we see many negativities in society, in many places, murder and robberies and many things, I think to have a place like this in any community is the best way to heal these wounds of hearts. You know, and so therefore we are very happy to be here to provide this spiritual need to anyone. For instance, actually, as I mentioned, many people come to our temple looking for this spiritual blessing. Sometimes even psychiatrists send their patients, their clients to our place to get these spiritual techniques, advice that we provide with this spiritual counsel to many people. And also, recently a psychologist came to learn about our special technique of meditation on death. You know, we have a meditation on death. That is nothing but learning and understanding that we all are here for a very short time in this world, and how to make our life very beneficial, very productive, very peaceful, and blessing to ourselves and all living beings. So, I think this is what we all need. So, we are here to provide you with that spiritual need. So we are open to anyone. We are not interested in converting anyone into any religion or anything. It is all about spiritual practice. How to appreciate and acknowledge this human life, and how to enhance our life with the spiritual qualities up to a higher level. So that's my comment. Thank you so much.
My name is Clyde Nichols, I live at 21769 Indian. I have no gripe with the church. Where my gripe lies is the fact that they used to send out a paper telling when a business or a church is going to come into the location. Well, this was 2 years ago when they started redoing this building. Building department knew what they were doing. Okay, they should have been informed this in their neighborhood. Instead, I think they took them to lunch. Okay, and the thing about it is, I'm saying these people, they're trying to do what they can do and do the right thing, which is the greatest thing there is. Because we've got much left. All right, but as far as the city not thinking about as much as the people, because they keep giving the damn property away, tax-free, instead of trying to get more taxes. Now, when are we going to stop doing this? I don't know how many churches we have in Southfield, and I don't care if there's another 100 of them brought in, but at least try and get some damn tax breaks, as far as the people are concerned, because the next thing we know, you're going to get more property away, and then you're going to come to the citizens, the people of the city, people that are retired people, and old people that can't afford it no more. And you're going to say, well, we're giving you another tax, getting another 4% added to you. So that at the end of that, you voted that in, at the end of that week, you can say, well, then we're going to add that other 1.4 millage on that we can put on since '94. This isn't right. Let's start thinking about the people and getting some damn taxes going in the city. Without the people in the city having to do all the taxes. Okay? And the abatements are fine. If it helps the city, like the gentleman was in here earlier, it sounds like there's going to be quite an amount of money coming in. That's great. But we need more of that. And some of it, I just can't understand, like Walmart or restaurants that want to come in here. It seems like we could have worked with like the building department, trying to maybe have come up with some of their location, or maybe work something out with the residents, so that they will let them come in here, because that's a lot of money in taxes that this city lost. And I don't see it improving any better than what it's doing right now. The fact that they're not going anywhere. And I feel that the building department, if they got something like this, and they do know that the people are going to be running a business or a church out of there, should inform my neighbors. I mean, my neighborhood is going downhill because of the fact that it's 90% rentals anymore, and they don't give a damn about the people. Okay? But that city, I demand that they can start telling the people that live there what is going on. I'm sorry, but that's how it is. I mean, until a few years ago, I used to get reports all the time about what's going on. I'll be damned I hear anything anymore. And it isn't right. Because I know you guys can do a lot for the city, you can do a lot of things to help the people. The things that are going on right now, it don't look good at all. I mean, this is coming to the point where these villages are going to start hitting us again in the face for the fact that you're having to give things up for other people when you shouldn't be given as much as you have been, if possible. But think about the people, because I know the schools are going to come back after us again. I mean, it's an unknown fact. And the city's going to come back at us too. But try to help the people instead of just saying, well, here, you can do this tax-free. You can live over here, it's tax-free. I mean, there's three churches in my neighborhood already. Okay? Private home churches. I have nothing against this church. They can do what they want. I'm just hoping that they make it to where the people on that street and the people living around that island are able to see a building section where they have more greenery and stuff instead of a big wall that they're going to look at the back of with air conditioners and everything sticking up. Okay? But let's start thinking about the damn people. Sorry, but like I say, you guys are all real good people. And I don't mean to cuss, but it just makes me damn mad. Because people in this Southfield area are worth a lot more than what's happening. And if you give me that card again, I'll put it where the sun don't shine. Talk to you later.
always nice to see you, Mr. Nichols.
Good to see you, Mr. Nichols.
We missed you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who wishes to address the council?
My name is Dishant Nayak. My nickname is D. I'm the Vice President of Great Lakes Buddhist Vihara. I was sitting here and I realized some of our neighbors have misunderstanding. I want to clarify that. We are not applying anything for tax break or anything. We have been received that tax break since 1997 from the state of Michigan. We are a non-profit organization. We have all the documentation. So we are not applying for any tax relief. Thank you for the city and the state of Michigan. And the other thing is, I want to clarify, I'm here to clarify something. We are not going to build a big church in the property. We are not going to ruin the beauty of the neighborhood. We are neighbor-friendly people. What we are going to do is just make a parking area, designated parking area in the 2.5 acre area land. Right now we don't have a designated parking area. If the city allow us to do the parking area, it is going to be for 18 to 20 cars. That is going to be a good opportunity to for other people to come to the place to get services. And I heard one of our neighbors mentioned we park on the straight Roach River Beach Road. Maybe long time ago, but recently that may have happened by mistake or something, because we are new to the area about 10 years ago. Right now, actually last 5-6 years, we did not park on the Roach Court or Beach Road. We used the golf course parking area with the permission of the manager. If we have about more than 5-6 cars, that happens very rarely, maybe once or twice a year. We get permission from the golf course parking lot from the manager, and they park visitors park the cars in the parking lot. We provide a shuttle service. We have a van in our place. We have volunteers. They provide 7-seater van. Come to the temple, shuttle service to the temple, from the temple to the parking lot. We don't have a big neighborhood, 200 people, no. We have about 30 families. Our services are actually very at a low key. If you can stop by our place anytime, you may see about maybe 5, maybe 8 people maximum at a day. We have meditation services on Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 7 to 9. We don't have a big crowd. There are some people who are interested in coming to the place. They inquire about coming there, but we cannot give facilities to them. We don't have a parking area. We don't have barrier-free access to the building. We don't have enough bathroom space. That is why we have an architect to design the building according to the city requirements. We have a civil engineer to help the architect design, give the technical data to build the parking lot according to the city rules and regulations. We are not doing anything illegal, we are not doing anything wrong. And we request the council to consider about our application and take suitable decision. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wishes to address the council this evening?
Geraldine Amato. I don't know the history of what has been said here, but my observation would be, for example, if there is actually an illegal bus company situated somewhere in that neighborhood, why cannot it be removed and put a religious institution in that place if it is commercial or something on the backside of the residential area? If it is true that there are more rental units in this area, that would possibly explain why there's not more neighbors here speaking. And these lovely men, I wouldn't mind them living next door to me, but making a special use and expanding the concept to a religious institution rather than nice neighbors having prayer meetings or meditation meetings, inviting their friends over for special activities. That goes on all over the city. Some people have parties, other people have prayer meetings, Bible studies. That in a residential neighborhood seems acceptable. So I think what they're doing now is apparently acceptable. But as one man I met here earlier, Frederick, that lived across the street on Garner Street where a school went up, a charter school I think, he testified to me that the first move was some kind of maintenance project or some building of the sewer or the underground system, and then they thought it was first going to be just maintenance of infrastructure, and lo and behold, then the school went up, parking lots and extraordinary traffic and congestion there every day when there is school in session. So I think when the one neighbor said, we would be setting a precedent and this thing can expand. And the complaints by the other man that there was illegal businesses set up, he should be fighting, I think, to have the illegal businesses moved rather than adding a non-residential activity going on in a residential neighborhood, which is already, according to one man, being undermined, that many people have already moved out and they're renting their units. But this is all down to the fact that our communities are broken. Something like this shouldn't even come to a central body, but should be decided in the neighborhood. The fact is that an individual can petition, essentially the master, to make a decision that affects intimately all the neighbors' lifestyles. I know if I were living there, I would not want a parking lot added to the terrain, and I would not want cars coming in and out at more frequent basis than ordinary people having prayer meetings or friends over. So I think these nice people can find another location that's not in a residential area and continue to welcome their guests in their home there and be nice neighbors, as some have testified that they are. It reminds me also of, for example, some of the propaganda around gay marriage, for example. No one challenges the fact that why do free people need a license to get married from the state? I mean, a license from the state to get married. So the issue is off target. We should be discussing why is it that we, supposedly in a free country, have to petition the corporate state for everything we want to do. Why is it? Those are the things we should be questioning. We're doing things according to the formula set from above. We have a top-down government today. We do not have a free market economy. We do not have a free society in a real sense. We have a controlled society. We're under a private commercial jurisdiction. We're under contract law, and in fact, we're moving towards international contract law. We're not under the law of the principles of the republic, and that's why we are in these situations where we have to petition the representatives of the higher-ups. You do not control either, the people that sit on this board. You are controlled, and as we go up, one man used the Ponzi scheme regarding the financial thing. The mother of all financial schemes is at the top of this pyramid, and all this is related to what we're dealing with here.
You have 15 seconds.
15 seconds? Thank you very much. Is that what you said? Great Godspeed.
Is there anyone else who wishes to address the council? Yes, sir.
My name is Mason Smith. My address is 19178 Collinson, East Point, Michigan, 48021. And I just wanted to speak in support of Great Lakes Buddhist Vihara. I've been going there for over a year, and it's been very helpful to me. It's really a unique place. I actually drive about 35 minutes to get there because I haven't been able to find any place else in the metro area where I can study this branch of Buddhism. Just many times I've reflected how lucky I am that I have this place here. If I was in another smaller city, maybe I wouldn't have the opportunity to be able to study Buddhism in person from Bhakti Sankhicha, who's really an expert. That's about all I have to say. We are a very quiet group. We come and meditate in silence for 45 minutes on Mondays and Wednesdays. We really don't bother anyone. And I don't think that the changes would really attract a lot more people. My understanding is that it would allow us to put a sign on the front of the vihara. When I first tried to locate the vihara, I had a really hard time. So it just kind of make things more convenient and nice for people. And also, I guess it would enable us to put on our websites publicly posts when we have meditation hours. And again, I don't think that's going to bring much more flocks of people in. It's really just a matter of convenience. So that's all I have to say.
Anyone else? I see none. I declare the public hearing closed. Anything else, Mr. Crowe? If not, council? Yes, Mr. Hall.
Just a few questions, maybe for our city planner, perhaps for the petitioners. It's for a very basic, clear level, what is actually being changed on site? If this is approved tonight, what does tomorrow look like? What does next week look like? And then on the converse side, if this isn't approved, what else? What is the situation just going to continue to be the exact same as it is?
If I could, through the chair, as the applicant has stated, this use has been operating since 2003, and they don't have proper circulation or parking on site. So if you're going to see a change, it's going to be proper circulation and appropriate parking on site. This is approximately 2.37 acres. The fence will be relocated from where it's situated now in the right-of-way and moved onto the property line. Parking lot would be screened from view from the road. Also, there's a small footpath that's not accessible in the terms of with Americans with Disability. A new footpath 6 feet wide would be built to city standards on the exterior of the fence. One of the citizens did mention they are going to be requesting a sign through the ZBA, but that's not being considered tonight. So as far as exterior changes, the building's not changing at all. They're going to address driveway, turning radius coming in off the road, and providing for a 22-car parking space with stormwater. Additional landscaping will be provided to screen the parking lot from the nearest neighbor, who's located 175 feet to the west and through a ravine in the wooded area. So those are really, in essence, the physical changes if you were to go out and inspect the site from now until after. Years ago, as the applicant had stated, we searched the code enforcement records, reviewed the city attorney. There was one citation of illegal parking back in 2005 or 2006. When they do have overflow, they have been using the Beechwoods Golf Course parking lot. So I think they're trying to address some legitimate concerns that have been raised by neighbors in the past in their own situation.
Yeah. It just seems like if we approve of this, two things are going to happen. Number one, we recognize that it's there formally, and number two, we alleviate a parking problem in the area. We had an email that was sent to us through all of council about not being enough, there's not enough parking spots in Beechwood. So it just seems like at the basic core, We're not changing the operations, we're not changing the site plan, we're adding a better parking situation. Did I hear right?
And if I could, through the chair, one of the planning commissioners did mention if there was no structure on site and they were to build new, we would want them to build to look like a residential home.
Yeah.
So the exterior of the existing residential home is not changing. And again, given the location, given the size of the acreage of the lot, given the fact that there's a ravine and a river and a road that buffers this, given the fact that there are 8 standards that we review when we consider uses permitted subject to special approval, this protects this from not happening anywhere in the city because we'd have to go through these standards. But in this particular case, we feel that they will basically maintain the residential character.
A few other questions that I had that were brought up during the public hearing. This bus situation, you know anything about that? That's not still going on.
Maybe the city attorney could address that because I think that was an issue that pre-existed my coming on board here.
I believe that it's still in court, and I believe that there have been some orders in terms of those buses being removed, but I certainly would talk to the assistant city attorney who's been handling that, get a report back for you.
Yeah, just would let the residents know, we obviously want things to come through the process, through the proper channels. So if you see something in your neighborhood that you think is disrupting the flow of the neighborhood, but also you don't think it's been being done properly, let us know so that we can kind of get on that. As to what Mr. Nichols said, I think we all agree with him. The major workout that we had just a few months ago, it kind of had us re-examining ourselves. How do we get tax-paying development entities into the city of Southfield? So I just want him to be rest assured that we are having that discussion. That is a priority, a renewed priority, if anything else, from this council. And just tonight, the TelNet presentation is bringing tax dollars, putting it right into the general fund of the city, so that we can provide services and not have necessarily the residents feeling pain as they get their tax bills, but actually, bringing more tax revenue into the city through development like TelNet. So his concerns, I think, are right on par, and we're focused on that too. So those are my comments.
Anyone else, Ms. George?
Yes, I do have several comments. Let me just preface my comments by saying I'm not against a religious institution. I actually work for a nonprofit religious organization. And I agree with you that people have needs in their life and they really have to come to some point to really make peace with themselves and peace with God. However, I do not believe, and nor can I support, setting a precedent by putting a church in a residential neighborhood. I know you have been operating there, I understand, for several years. However, Beach Road was actually a homeowner's road that my husband and I were looking to purchase before we purchased our current home, which is about a mile from where you're located. And I would be fuming if I purchased a home, my hard-earned dollars in buying a home in a residential neighborhood, and just to have a church, and I do church, come next door to me. And I'm looking at your attachment of when you have services. I think this is your attachment A. So you have services on Monday nights from 7:30 to 9. You have services on Wednesday night. You have services, two different services on Wednesday night from 6 to 7 and again on 7:30 to 9:30. You have services on Friday night. You have services on Sunday morning, Sunday evening. You're operating a church in a residential neighborhood. And I just cannot vote for that. I don't think that you should be operating your business in a residential area, particularly since you want to expand and bring in concrete and parking, this is a residential neighborhood. I do agree with the noise, the traffic, the lights. I mean, this is what's happening right here. So I just cannot support the current request for special use. Now, through the chair, what type of ADA requirements are needed to turn this into a full church? What else has to be done to the property?
I can address the exterior. Like Mr. Crowe had mentioned, the walking path is.
Give me some dollars. It's gonna. What is that gonna cost this petitioner to do that?
To be quite honest, we haven't gotten that far in the process to put a construction budget together. I would say total construction costs probably in the neighborhood of $60,000 to $70,000.
That's just for the walking path or for
everything? No, ma'am. Just for all the site improvements. That's just a ballpark figure. We just haven't gotten that far. Typically we take it one step at a time with site plan approval before we spend the time to get to that level of detail. Because sometimes if the site plan doesn't get approved, then there's no point in spending our client's money at that point. But as far as the barrier-free, again, the walking path will be widened 6 feet. We'll provide access to it now where it's currently inside the fence that's out there, because the fence kind of encloses the walking path that's there that's inside the city right-of-way. So that's one improvement. Sorry.
Through the chair, to Ms. Jordan, also there'll be designated barrier-free parking space on site adjacent to the entrance.
Thank you.
I just have to put on my residential resident hat tonight as a council person, and I just cannot support a church fully operating in a residential neighborhood. I just believe we're setting precedent, and I just cannot support it.
Understood. If
I can't convince me otherwise.
No, ma'am. I don't plan on convincing. I just wanted to make a point that we're asking for a special use, which religious facilities are allowed in a residential zoning district, and that most of your churches, schools, cemeteries, golf courses, and even the property that we're here now are all zoned residential. So that situation currently exists throughout the city. Your churches are in residential zone districts.
Yeah, but they're not, many of them are not next to a home. Usually they're located on a thoroughfare where they're next to businesses or they're next to open space. But here you're right, next to also a residential home.
Which perpetuates the screening requirements.
Right, which means putting up fences and all of that other sort of stuff. I just can't support it.
Understood. We're keeping the natural screening on the west and the south side and just relocating the existing screening that's on the east side.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Mr. Monk? Okay, Mr. Frazier.
Seems like there's some resistance to anything on this evening. I sit on a site plan committee, and this was brought before the site plan committee, and we asked some pretty hard questions in the site plan committee. We felt very satisfied that this was not going to cause any disruption, especially since it's been operating in this manner for the last 10 years. So there's really not going to be any significant difference other than some changes to move the fence off the city property onto private property and add the sidewalk, and you did forget the bike rack. Yeah, but tomorrow, week after next, 2 weeks from now, it's not going to be that much difference. But I'm going to make a motion that we postpone the decision on this evening, and I think that we need to have our city attorney discuss with us the removal law and bring this back after we've had an opportunity to ask our city attorney about what is going to keep us out of trouble. And so I'm going to offer a motion to postpone GP 1249, SB 1294 to, I'm going to have a date uncertain at this point.
Support.
All right, it's been moved by Mr. Fraser, support by Mr. Moss to postpone. All those in favor?
Aye.
I'm in favor, but I do have a question. Mr. Nichols indicated that he was not given due chair to our city plan a proper notice, and I just want to make sure that when this does come back, that we spend ample time to make sure that the residents are fully aware of what's happening, and they are given an opportunity to come and give their support or, their opposition to this.
I think he says about miles.
Yeah, through the chair, just to refresh the council's memory, the state requires a 300-foot notification of all properties within 300 feet. It's been the city standard practice to do 350 feet. We also notify the homeowner association within the area, and we do publish this. This had several workshops with the Planning Commission, a public hearing. Planning Commission also postponed for 1 month to do an additional investigation. So we went above and beyond the requirements, but we did publish also in the city paper. So,
but I mean, Mr. Nichols, he lives probably less than a mile from where this proposed, and very active in his subdivision. So I guess I'm a little shocked that he wasn't aware that this was taking place. So just ample notice. If it means going out a few extra yards, do it for the sake of making sure that we are truly transparent.
Mr. President, if I could suggest something. The public hearing was opened and was closed, so we've complied with the statute in the ordinance in terms of a public hearing. If we were simply to refer this to a COW meeting, go into closed session, talk about that, but we gave a date certain, there wouldn't be any additional notification that would have to be done because we would be letting people know tonight what that date is. So I think it's in terms of efficiencies, if we just set, the next COW date, for example, we could do a closed session there and maybe put it back on an agenda for action potentially the next.
The closed session would only be to confer with you.
That's correct. And if we did that the first COW meeting of April, we could just schedule this tonight for decision on the next regular meeting in April, which I think is the 22nd. So if we postponed it to April 22nd, we could accomplish what Mr. Fraser has requested on the COW meeting and then bring it back, and then everybody would know it's coming back on the 22nd of April.
Okay, just so that it's not confusing, because we already voted on it. You want me to?
I thought that the vote did not occur because Ms. Jordan had a question.
No, we voted.
And she said she agreed. Yeah. But then she had a question after we all voted.
So there could be a motion.
Want me to rescind?
You could rescind that motion or actually reconsider at the same meeting.
Okay.
So under Roberts, you could reconsider and then do a new motion to set it for April 22nd.
Okay, since I moved on, since I was in a majority, I can bring a motion to reconsider our previous vote on the 1249 SB 1294. That's a motion.
Support.
It's been moved by Mr. Fraser, supported by Mr. Moss to reconsider. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Now, I move that we postpone GP 1294, SP 1294, or GP 1249, SP 1294 to our next committee of the whole. Is that April?
22nd.
I think it would be postponed until April 22nd.
April
22nd, the regular meeting potentially for a decision, because we could have addressed it at COW before that.
According to this, unless it got changed, April 8th is our COW. April 22nd is our regular meeting.
That is agenda we are already filled on April 8th. We have a joint meeting, although we could do something.
About May 6th?
No, why don't we just do it on April 22nd?
Well, April 22nd would be when the public, or the hearing would
We could do
be
it
held
both.
again. No, you would not hold.
No, we want to do it as a committee of the whole.
Okay, this item would be heard, but we could, either on April
We could add
1st
it
or
to a-
April 8th, we could
Yeah, we could add it.
discuss it at the committee of the whole meeting.
Yeah.
Okay, April 8th. And then it would be brought back on April
Well,
22nd.
Why don't we just postpone this until April 22nd to come back before council at the regular meeting, knowing that we will, before that date, at some meeting, I will get with the council, we will go through the applicable law.
Okay.
I'm trying to think this through. It'll be a closed session.
Correct.
It'll be a closed session, so we don't have to worry about, we don't have to take into consideration that there may be some residents that want to speak. Since it's a closed session, they won't be there anyhow.
And again, the residents have already been able, tonight, they've been afforded the opportunity for the public hearing. This will just be
Clarification of.
it's through a discussion with the attorney on a written opinion in terms of the applicability of RLUIPA.
Okay. So April the 22nd, that we bring it back.
Support.
And just a point of order, Ms. Ward, for the sake of the audience, you can do this better than I can. Would you explain in general, briefly, RLUIPA?
Well, RLUIPA is a federal statute that talks about and deals with zoning in terms of religious institutions. And there are several parameters are set forth in terms of is there a compelling interest, governmental interest? What is the least restrictive method that a government could undertake to accomplish its goals when viewed in context with a religious institution? So what I would just want to do is go through that law with the council so that they would be, very versed on that prior to making a decision on the 22nd.
Right, and again, just to clarify for everyone, we are not voting in a closed session.
Correct.
We will vote in an open session on April 22nd.
Unless it would be further postponed, but certainly it'll be back on the table on April 22nd.
Exactly. Without a public hearing, because we conducted that. Okay, so we have motion on the floor to postpone this till April 22nd. It's been moved and supported. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Mayor?
I just wanted to put this on the record that this religious organization, has been there for 10 years. We'll be updated on the law and the residential requirements that apply or don't apply. But what I want to put on the record is that if this parking is not approved, it does not make the church go away. It has been there. I have been invited to programs there at the facility. Did not know it, driven past that spot for years, and was not aware that it was a place of worship. And it was a very quiet place of meditation. A very organized, structured faith, and I was kind of surprised. It was in a residential area. I was even more surprised I'd been there that long and I didn't know it was there. So tonight, and we'll come back to it, the discussion will be about facilitating parking events. The one piece that I want to make sure that we include is the concerns of the residents. And that to me is very important, as much as it is important for us to be in compliance with the laws and to understand that this place of worship has been there for 10 years. If I hadn't been invited to the event, I would not have known that it was a place of worship. I kind of looked at it and said, what is that place? Because there's a fence up. So I just wanted to put that on the record.
All right. I have one final question from the religious leader. Could you tell us, well, you have numerous prayer sessions or meditation sessions. Could you tell us typically how many people attend?
Actually, so far, at this point, as we already mentioned, we have small meditation sessions on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
Right.
The maximum number actually we get, like Monday meditation program, we have 5 to 8 people.
5 to 8 people.
And Wednesday, for the yoga practice, actually, for now, it has been postponed because of the teacher's time conflict. Now, for that, we get about 6 to 9 people. And Wednesday meditation program, we have the same, 5 to 8 people. And Friday meditation program has 6 to 10 people. That's all. And Sunday, actually, we have a small children group. We have only 8 to 12 little kids coming to the practice, this meditation practice. Actually, for the Sunday service, as public service, we have about 8 to 12 people. That's the number of people we have. Unless for major functions, we always rent out outside locations.
Thank you. All right, we're going to move on.
Yeah, I'd like to say that, you know, the thing that's a little confusing to me about this whole thing is the person most impacted by whether or not this becomes sanctioned as a church, because it's been operating as a church for the last 10 years, is the person who lives next door to it. They would be most impacted by anything that takes place, and he was the most supportive of anyone that came to the microphone. The people that are against it are people who live half a mile away, 3/4 of a mile away, that wouldn't be impacted by it. But that's the... Okay, that's my statement.
Okay, we're going to move on. We have one last public hearing this evening, and this is a very brief or short amendment to a definition on our zoning ordinance. And this is GP 1253, and I'll turn it over to Mr. Crowe.
Thank you, through the chair. GP 1253P is amending Article 2 definitions of the zoning ordinance, deleting Section 5.61, subsection 1, and inserting in lieu thereof a new Section 5.61. This amendment specifically concerns amending the definition of a garage private. This request came through some changes that the City Council made to other ordinances through the city's attorney's office. This was brought through the Planning Commission. We made a recommendation in favor, subject to the changes that were provided by the city's attorney's office. Since we hope next month to bring forward a definition on carport, the only amendment I'd like to offer for your consideration tonight is that we further state under private garage that a carport is not a garage, and we will define what a carport is next month.
Okay. We have a I'm getting ahead of myself, sorry. This is I'm going to declare the public hearing open. Anyone wishing to speak on this amendment should come to the podium.
Geraldine Amato. Like the previous agenda item, it's much to do about the cars, and that each individual has to have his car. And whether it's a garage or a carport, the fact is we're overusing the car. Just in the previous one, you can shade the parking lot, but the air that's produced by these several automobiles is not going to stay behind that barrier, whatever you're going to use, to keep it at a visual sight. And that's one of the major problems with the overuse of the private car in this town, is extraordinary air pollution. So I would just want to use this opportunity to kick in that regarding the garage or the carport. I don't see that, it's a significant issue, but the fact is that we deal with these kind of things at these meetings proves that we're under this private contract law, and these definitions are set from elsewhere, and we are under these restraints to model our daily activities according to formulas that have nothing to do with reality at the local level, that the people at the local level have too little to say of what's really going on and what affects their lives intimately.
Anyone else wishing to speak on this public hearing? Hearing none, I declare the public hearing closed. Mr. Crowe?
Yeah, and I have the city attorney, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe this is dealing with outside storage issues that were previously dealt with, and in order to define storage inside versus storage outside, that's why we made these changes.
And in part, it's to make everything consistent.
It does not require somebody to have a garage. It's just a definition of a garage as used in this chapter.
Right, a private garage. All right, council?
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
I move that we approve DB 1253P.
Support.
And it's been moved and supported. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
I move that we introduce ordinance number, I believe it's going to be 1606.
That's correct.
I need support. It's supported by Ms. Jordan. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, next we have a site plan. This is not a public hearing. This is SP 1298 to review a request of Affiliated Diagnostic Center to construct a 1,070 square foot addition to the property located at 26550 Northwestern Highway. Mr. Crowe?
Thank you, through the chair. The planning department received the site plan request on January 22nd, 2013. The planning commission reviewed the site plan at the regular meeting of February 27th, 2013, and made a favorable recommendation. Also, I believe this was discussed at the March 13th site plan committee meeting, and it also was received a favorable recommendation. Our city planners recommended resolution dated March 18th, 2013 defines 11 conditions of approval, and I'll be happy to answer any questions that the council may have after our brief video presentation and giving the applicant opportunities to address the council.
SP 1298 is a site plan review request of Affiliated Diagnostics to construct an addition to an existing medical office building at 26550 Northwestern Highway on the northeast corner of Lassa Road and Northwestern Highway in Section 22 of the city. The subject property, as well as the property to the north and east, is Zone B3 General Business. To the west is a large stretch of Lassa Road and the Northwestern Highway right-of-way. The property to the south across Northwestern Highway is zoned OF Office Service. With regard to the existing land uses, the subject property is developed with the Affiliated Diagnostic Center. The property to the north and east is developed with the 1-800 Law Firm building. The property to the west is road right-of-way. And the property to the south across Northwestern Highway is developed with a gas station. The site contains .49 acres of land with 131.73 feet of frontage on Lassa Road, 203.43 feet of frontage on Northwestern Highway, and a depth of 108 feet. The submitted site plan reflects the construction of a 1,070 gross square foot addition to the existing building to house their existing MRI unit. The parking required is 20 spaces, with 22 provided on site. The landscape provided conforms to ordinance requirements. The new building is to match the existing with like materials and colors. Issues considered by the planning department during the review of the site plan were the site plan review standards of the zoning ordinance. The proposal is in accordance with the Southfield Comprehensive Master Plan, noting city center sub-area for this parcel. The petitioner is to implement the recommendations made by the Southfield Police Department Crime Prevention Bureau regarding site security.
Through the chair, just have a couple of comments to add. There was an error in the narrative. The properties to the north and east are actually zoned RC Regional Center. That was miscorrectly stated in the video presentation. Also, I wanted to point out that the site, for anybody who's been here for a while, was the former Pinter's Flowerland. And just over 2 years ago, this site was vacant and was an eyesore and had been an eyesore for several years. The affiliated diagnostic came in and renovated the building, and according to state law requirements to operate a permanent MRI unit, they have to show a need to the state. So they went to the Zoning Board of Appeals and received a 1-year temporary use permit for an outdoor trailer that they had located adjacent to the site, provided some temporary access to that outdoor trailer, and operated for 2 consecutive 1-year periods. The good news is that they have identified a need and has been successful in receiving state approval for a permanent MRI, and they are expanding to a permanent building. So this has been a success story from the beginning 2 years ago, and I'll leave the rest of the presentation up to the construction manager, Dave.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Dave Sherman, construction manager for Affiliated Diagnostics, 26 by 50 Northwestern Highway.
Good evening.
Good evening. I'm speaking now tonight for our owner, Mr. Mackey, who's feeling a little under the weather, but the planning department did a pretty tremendous job on that presentation. I don't have too much to do here, but to tell you that we came here a couple of years ago. We took a building that was pretty much in rough shape. We put it into the shape that it is in now. We have 13 employees there. We've turned it into a success, and we're asking now to add this addition so we can take the trailer away and put the MRI unit inside the building. In the meantime, while we're doing this work, which we're going to try and do between 60 and 90 days, we're going to take that trailer and put it in front of the front door, basically, and make it convenient for our patients to get in and out of the building into the trailer, because we're going to be building this addition where the trailer now sits. We plan on turning that around pretty quickly. We're going to be very creative on how we screen the trailer while it's temporarily in the front of the building. And I think that you're going to be very happy with how we leave the property. Thank you very much.
Yes, there was some additional conditions that were added through the site plan committee. One, that the petitioner will land bank 2 parking spaces on the east side of the property until such time that they are needed. They are providing 22 spaces and only are required to have 20. Also, that the petitioner will add an additional barrier-free parking space with access aisle on the west side of the building, and that the MRI trailer during construction have a fence or other means found acceptable to the planning department to screen it during this 90-day construction period.
Okay, and you're agreeable to those terms?
Yes, we are.
Great. Council, any comment?
Mr. President, I move the approval of SB 1298.
Support. Moved by Mr. Moss, supported by Ms. Jordan. Any other discussion?
I was just going to say that at the site plan committee, we did talk about the improvements that were going to be made, and suggested that we modify the request to include the land bank and the And in the event that they need spaces later on, bank them and add one more barrier-free parking space. So we think it's a good plan, and it will make a temporary situation into a permanent situation, which should be good for the whole community, because if it's needed, it's needed, and we might as well make it look right. And the material that is going to go into the new addition is going to match the current material so that it will look like the building was all built at one time.
I want to just add that I think I speak for our entire council to tell you how much we appreciate what you've done so far with that corner. It was in very sorry shape. Even when the flower shop was there, it didn't look all that great. So you've made a huge improvement on that corner, coupled with your neighbor, 1-800 law firm. It's really been dressed up, and we appreciate that. This addition, we're glad to see that it's a big investment to bring an MRI equipment. I understand that it has to be assembled, and then the walls are built around it. Is that correct?
No, nowadays we will leave an opening so that they can get the equipment in, and then we'll close it. It does have to be a dust-free environment, but they'll make the provisions for the equipment. But it'll be very minor after we get the equipment in there, and it should go nice and smooth.
Okay. If there are no other comments, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Congratulations. Keep up the good work.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Next, we're going to move to our communications portion of our agenda. And first person up is Pamela Gerald.
My name is Pamela Gerald. I am and have been an independent voice of Southfield. If you are watching this meeting on Cable 15 or listening to my voice via YouTube or audio reproduction, I can be reached at P.O. Box 155, Southfield, Michigan, 48037-0155. My telephone number is 248-352-9188. I am just a phone call away or a click away via email. Whenever you hear a siren, someone in public safety is risking their lives for you, one of your neighbors, someone you know, or someone else in the city. Council, I just want to ask the question again. Are we serious about public safety here in Southfield? How are we treating our police officers? And I want that question answered respectfully. I also want to ask a question. Is it doable to allow a part-time person to put their time into a pension? I also want that question answered. That's one of the few things around city government that I don't quite understand, but I'm learning the process. Everyone in this room knows that a community is only as strong as public safety. And we can give away every single foreclosed house in the city of Southfield. We can give it away for $1, give it away for free. People are just not going to move into a community if they don't feel that we have enough police officers and enough public safety. Now, the residents have heard me say that we're down 30 police officers in this city. How many are we down, if I'm wrong? You know, it's an embarrassment that such a wonderful city had to be in arbitration with our police officers because somebody failed to give fair contract talks. So with the arbitration not being a success, I'm thinking that the morale is going to be down. I think we're going to lose more police officers to retirement. And I want to know, do we have a pool of potential candidates? I'm just not sure what's going on. We've got 2 cadets in this city that have been police in waiting for over 3 years. They need to be hired, and they need to be hired right now. They have families to support, just like everybody in here. We have something that we're doing, somebody to support, and we need to do that and do that as soon as possible. I just want to remind the council again that we need to do right by our public safety. We still have 7 more firefighters that we need, and we have got to restore the police officers. We need to restore the other employees that work here. The unions have just been browbeat in the city of Southfield, and I don't like it. And I don't like the fact that people at the executive level have not taken a pay cut. Right here. Nobody's taken a pay cut, but everybody else is taking a pay cut. Council, it is the police that responds within 3 to 5 minutes, not you. Council, it is the police that risk their lives for us when they get the radio call, not you. And any call could be their last call. Council, it is the police working longer hours for less money under the auspices that we're doing more with less. Yet, again, I'll repeat, none of you have given up your salaries. And I think that the council position should be an unpaid position to see how bad you really want to serve the people. I want you guys to do right by our police officers. Give up the free food, the free gas, the free trips, the free cars, and do something about public safety. If you don't do that, you're jeopardizing our public safety in the city. I don't want to wake up and they say 20 more officers retired. They'll retire from here and go to another community and be treated like they deserve to be treated. Now you're going to go into contract talks again? Go in there with a good frame of mind.
15 seconds.
And settle the contract. Give them an acceptable contract that they deserve. You did do one good thing, Mr. Charette. You hired the best candidate for chief of police, and that was Chief Eric Hawkins, and we do appreciate that.
Thank you. Next, Mark Watts.
And Mr. President, while that person is coming up, I just want to clarify that council does not get free gas or free cars, so please let the public know that we do not get free gas, nor do we receive free cars, and for the small allowance that is given, it's not enough to pay. So, thank you very much.
Also, our police officers have not taken a pay cut.
Okay, yes, we have real police staff in our police.
Okay, Mark Watts is, let the record show that he is not present. So next we'll go on to Carlotta Arnold. Good evening, Ms. Arnold.
Hello.
And I think you know the drill from sitting here.
Carlotta Arnold, 23803 Abatement Street. I just became a resident of Southfield in 2009. I stay behind a business. My issue is that the fence, the 4-feet fence that's been there since the 70s, that my elderly neighbors told me that's been there when they built the houses, are still there. It used to be an elementary school there, but now it's a business. We have a lot of traffic. It's not just a business from 9 to 5. It's not just a Monday through Friday. 7 days a week, whoever has the key to that building. Things are going on in the parking lot, from drag racing to loud music to walking of dogs to having their lunchtime taken there. I was notified, I was able to learn that on one occasion after I had someone take their lunch break behind my home the whole summer, 3 months. They came from Telegraph and 10 Mile, across Bird, past 4 houses, and sat behind my house every day for 4 hours. We need a privacy fence between the resident and the businesses. I'm a single mother. with a child that can't go outside and play in a house that I bought for us. Because we have people that the police tells them when I call, she calls, but you're able to stay here as long as you're on this side of the fence. That's not right. They told me to close my curtains and my shades, and I have some privacy. I feel I should have a privacy fence, not just for myself, but for all 10 residents that's on that block. I'm the youngest person on that block. I have someone there with Alzheimer's. I have someone that's only there in the summer. They're gone for the winter. So it's like, and I'm not working and I'm disabled. So I see a lot more than everyone else because I'm locked in my home. Just as long as I've been outside the house since I've been living there, sitting here. I didn't know what the agenda was for tonight, but for me to hear all these businesses come here and want to be a resident, you have to live there to know what a person is going through. And if you don't live there, it's not right to allow these businesses to do whatever they want to do. They don't cut the grass. I have to drive over there. I have to take empty bags. I have to get the leaves up. They don't cut the grass. They don't get the leaves up. They don't get the trash up. They don't tell their employees to stay in the parking lot. They have a bus transportation service where we have 10 buses that they start up every morning at 6 a.m., sometimes 4 and 5 in the wintertime, to warm their buses up. Some of the buses was broken down. They did move them after I complained, but they even was putting their personal vehicles in their parking lot for storage. They just moved the trailer that was there from 2009 to 2012.
Oh, my goodness.
That it was bright red apple and the sun turned it burgundy. That's how long it had been sitting there. So for me to keep complaining over the years and nothing was done, I'm here today because I almost lost my house to taxes. So whoever was here today with the help, that wasn't available to me at that time. So because I was able to save my house, now I want something done. It should be a privacy fence put up. I even asked about when I first moved here in 2009, and the city told me I had to talk to the people that's over the block. But all the people are mixed and matched and moved, and the ones that are there are too old to do any business for any of the residents on that block. I feel we should have a privacy fence. After I rode through the city of Southfield, and you look at the businesses that's near homes, they have brick walls, they have 6 feet privacy fences, they have some kind of way to divide a business and a residential.
Are you behind the Vanguard building?
Yes.
Okay.
I just
I'm just trying to figure out where
the
that
orientation of
Yeah,
where exactly.
Former Southfield
Okay.
County School.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's just 10 people on my block, not including the other 5 that's around the corner where our backyard is to their parking lot.
Okay.
So.
All right, we're going to refer this to the city administrator to investigate your concern, and we will get back to you. Thank you, Ms. Arnold.
Thank you. Thanks for your patience.
All right, next we have Geraldine Amato.
Good evening. I come again to say and assert that we are not operating under lawful order. We are under the private commercial order, international contract law, and lawyers are not lawyers, they are Bar Association operatives, and they are called to administer and to enforce the private commercial order. I'd like to quote from one former lawyer who's passed on, one of the former, patriots of the Revolutionary era, before the Bar Association existed and transmuted lawyers into attorneys, Patrick Henry. When he was in the Virginia Constitutional Convention and protesting the adoption of a federal government by passing the U.S. Constitution, he said, amongst other things, to erect and concentrate and perpetuate a large money interest must, in the course of human events, create 2 evils, the prostration of agriculture at the feet of commerce, and a change in this federal government fatal to American liberty. That was prophetic. It was said in the 1787, I think it was, might have been June 5 in Virginia Constitutional Convention. I was listening to the Oakland County Treasurer give his presentations about federal government help. As the people who control the federal government administer this economy, this synthetic economy, which has caused agriculture to be prostrate at the feet of commerce, whereas in this area it's exemplary, that there are more cars than there are farms and houses, and I mean the previous discussions, I've never lived in a suburb before. The more concerned about how things look than how things are, and it's a very arbitrary standard. The landscape is more important to many people than justice. And instead of communicating with one's neighbor, they're too busy putting chemicals out on the lawn where it's not even fit for the neighbor's children to play in, etc., etc. We need to get concerned about justice and truth and what's really happening here in this nation. A free people in a true free market economy have enough resources to at least support their livelihood, meaning their necessities of life. We now depend, most of us totally, on someone else to give us the opportunity to support ourselves, and we call it jobs. Why is it that we are dependent on someone who owns or controls the wealth of this nation to create jobs or give us jobs? Because we have no resources to support ourselves if they don't give us the means to do so. This is what you call control of the resources of the nation. And those of us who have been forced into confidence games, all federal government programs are confidence games. And we are all being paid with what they call payday loans. We're working on a debt credit system. None of us have wealth. We have credit instruments in their banks. And as we may have heard in the news recently, some of the banks over there in Cyprus off the coast of Greece has talked about confiscating 10% of everyone's savings accounts in their banks in order to support government enterprise. We will see that come. We've had some history here that's not even taught in the mainstream schools. President Theodore Roosevelt, May Day in 1933, passed the executive order seizing all the gold from the people. You were required to turn in your gold coin and give it to the federal treasury under penalty of imprisonment or a huge fine. And then from that point on, incrementally, we took the silver out after Kennedy's assassination, and now we have banks to credit script. Saving that stuff in their banks is madness. It's credit script that only has purchasing power, and they who issue it give us the permission to spend it in their corporate-controlled stores. So we're in this coast-to-coast company town. And unless some of us are willing to drop our personal plans and our private preferences and break out of American consumer dream world, we are lost as a nation. You're so polite.
All right, next we have Mr. Gerard Mullen. Good evening again, Mr. Mullen.
Mr. President, my name is Gerard Mullen. My address is gerardmullen2012@gmail.com. Tonight, I'm here not to talk about those nice guys from Walmart, the Planning Commission's favorite corporate criminal. Instead, I'm here tonight to talk to you nice folks here on council, who last year gave Enzo the green light while he turned off the lights on Mark Twain in the library. I have two questions I'd like to ask you folks tonight, plus I have a comment. Question number one. Why does this council publish the City of Southfield's legal notices in the South Oakland Eccentric newspaper and not in the Southfield Sun, the one newspaper that every Southfield resident gets a copy of? Question number two. Why do you folks on council publish your political ads for your election and re-election in the Southfield Sun, the one newspaper that every Southfield resident and every Southfield voter gets a copy of, and not in the South Oakland Eccentric? My comment? Remember this. What we the residents did to Walmart, we the voters can do the same to you. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you.
Next on our agenda is attorney, but I'm going to skip over the attorney for a second. Oh, I'm sorry. Excuse me. That's correct. I've turned one too many pages. Next we go to the council portion of the agenda, and is there anyone who wishes to bring up something? Ms. Jordan?
Well, you know, I see our Oakland County Commissioner Nancy Quarles in the audience, and I just like her to have come to the podium and briefly address us. I'm putting her on the spot, but she rarely comes to our meetings, and good to see you, Commissioner Quarles, and can you give us an update on what's happening, and congratulations on your new post as well.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam City Council member, and to Mr. President and the members of the council. It's always good to come before you. Certainly want to make sure you are aware that myself and Janet Jackson, the other commissioner for the City of Southfield, are here to help and serve you and make sure any resources that are available are there for you. Of course, we do have one major issue, and that's one that has been addressed not only in the City of Southfield, but requests are being made throughout the southern part of Oakland County, and that is roads and road funding. And to that point, fortunate enough to talk with the executive director of the Road Commission in the last couple of days, and we're looking very closely at some activities, funds, and procedures to put in place on some of the roads. As you certainly know, with the roads that the city is responsible for and the roads that the county, this is a bad time to try to do some of the potholing as well as put some permanent replacements in, but we do have to come up with some solutions. And there was a meeting last Monday between the county engineers as well as the city's engineers on how to begin to address some of the services on the roads. Roads is one area I certainly want to make sure that if there's anything that's needed in other areas that you feel free to, and I'm going to give you my 15 minutes. That's okay. I will adhere to the 15-minute rule to any other services that are available that we're there for you. In the next couple of weeks, we will be doing more about budgeting, and there are some areas I think that may be of help to the city, and we'll certainly be addressing them with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Quarles. And you know we're talking about Greenfield.
What else can we talk to?
We've all heard a lot about Greenfield Road. And it is, for those who didn't know, it is a county road.
Yes. Greenfield is.
Ms. Jordan, anything else this evening?
Thank you.
Oh, okay. My colleague to the right?
Not this evening.
Okay. Mr. Frazier.
Yeah, I'd just like to turn the microphone on first. I'd just like to say that just a few days ago, our police officers were sort of TV stars. And our new chief of police has, I believe, has instilled a feeling in our police department that we can get it done. And I know there are complaints that we haven't enough police and all, but one of the things is we've done the math, and when we look at other communities around, we are right in the pack of having adequate police force to cover the number of residents and businesses in the city of Southfield. One of the things that may not be taken into consideration is, in the last 10 years, between the two censuses, we lost a lot of residents in the city of Southfield. And to say that we need the same amount of police as we had when we had the maximum number of people in our community defies the real logic. So both our police and fire department are adequately staffed, and I want the residents to sleep well tonight when they go to bed, when they lay their head under pillows, to know that we do have adequate police, we do have adequate firefighters, we do have adequate EMS folks to take care of the business, because it's proven day after day after day that we do have. So I don't want anyone to scare you into thinking that we just don't have enough folks around here to do the job that is going to keep you safe, because we do. And so I would like to just make sure that people understand that. The other side of the argument.
Hearing nothing else from the council, then I'll move to the mayor.
Hello, today was the State of the City address. I was proud to be able to give that address. And speaking of our police department, we have an 80% rate of getting the bad guy. So when individuals come to Southfield to commit a crime, they know they have a slim chance of getting out without us processing them, arresting them, and make sure they get their day in court. It's important that we understand that every municipality, there's not a municipality that has not seen a decrease in their public safety staffing. We've had some that have been at rates that some may consider there's a concern. But we in the city of Southfield are confident with our police chief, who has been a very open and progressive thinker, and one who is working for efficiencies with the tax dollars we have. So I too sleep well at night knowing that we have a magnificent police department. I feel strongly that we should treat them with respect. They deserve it. They work hard, and I always use the example. I talk to people about our police force. We run. If we hear a gun or if we see a stranger or something, we run from them. Our police are paid to run to it and to take care of us and protect us. And I can't say enough about how great our police department is. The other thing I want to thank our county commissioner for coming tonight, because roads have been just a major concern of our curb appeal, our citizens. They call us, as you know, because it's in the city of Southfield, so it must be your street if you're not doing it. So it's a good thing to have commissioners that are working with us and in their branch of government carrying the message and our concerns publicly. Last, I just wanted to comment that we're going to have the Battle of the Books coming up this week. And I can't tell you, if you've never attended the Battle of the Books, if you want to get excited about children reading and excited about the energy of youth and education, go to the Battle of the Books. It is amazing. These children, my granddaughter is participating this year, and I've gone almost every year I've gone. And to see their reading and their practice and their energy and their excitement to be able to participate is amazing. And in the city of Southfield, we just recently had our Reading Revolution readathon in the Civic Center. And to see all these little young minds to be excited about, and I know Councilman Sizer and Councilman Moss were there reading, and we had our city clerk there reading, and it's just such an exciting thing. And we some people say, okay, that's cute. No, it's necessary. Because if we're going to have a community of young leaders, communities of that people that respect education, then we need to roll up our sleeves and participate in that and support our youth centers, support our libraries, support our schools. And there's so many people that are listening today that actually go into the schools and read to our children. So I'm excited about our battle of the books, and I'll be there cheering everyone on. I might cheer a little bit more for my granddaughter. But I encourage you all to come out and just watch it. It would give you a happy moment. Thank you.
And that's tomorrow night at 7 for the 4th and 5th grade, and Wednesday night at 7 for middle school.
Yes.
All right, Mr. Administrator?
Just briefly, I'd like to inform the council, mayor, and the public that we all share a concern about Greenfield Road between I-696 and 8 Mile Road southbound. And we've already entered into a conversation with the Road Commission of Oakland County, and we are meeting tomorrow afternoon with representatives of the Road Commission.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Unless the clerk, treasurer, or planner, Mr. Krug.
Yeah, I just want to remind the public that the Planning Commission will be holding the first workshop on the master plan update on March 20th at 6:30 p.m. in Parks and Rec on the second floor. This will be taking general comments on citywide issues, as well as specifically looking at Southfield Road corridor from 12 to 13 miles.
Thank you for that reminder. It's a visioning session, Ms. Banks.
Yes, we have 2 holidays that are forthcoming, Passover and Easter, and I would like to wish everyone in the city a very happy and healthy Passover and Easter. Enjoy the time with your family, friends, and loved ones.
Thank you. All right, we have some ordinances to enact. Mr. Frazier?
I move that we enact ordinance number 1602.
Support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
These are all things we've discussed before.
Yeah, we introduced them, so we had to discuss them.
Right.
Mr. President?
Yes.
Yeah, I move that we enact ordinance number 1603.
Support.
All those in favor?
Aye. Mr. President?
Yes.
I move that we enact ordinance number 1604.
Support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Mr. President? I move that we enact ordinance number 1605.
Support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I kind of cut corners there.
Mr. President?
Yes.
I move that we go into closed session.
Well, I just want to give the attorney an opportunity if she had anything to say before we do that.
I don't have anything other than closed session.
Okay. We have a motion to go into closed session on negotiations. Supported by Mr. Moss. All those in favor?
Oh, there'll be a roll call.
Oh, I'm sorry. Right. Ms. Banks, any roll call?
Mr. Frazier?
Yes.
Mr. Moss?
Yes.
Ms. Jordan? Yes. And Mr. Sizer?
Yes.
And then Ms. Seymour, Mr. Lance, and Mr. Yes. We have 4 members.